Yeah! It's your boy Gabriel Hodder, Matthew Omen. We are All Fight, No Fight, Primal Fear. And you're watching BJ and DG Talk Wrestling. Yeah!
All right. Thank you, Primal Fear, for that intro. Welcome back, everybody. BJ here, DJ over there.
How's everybody doing?
We're going to talk some wrestling, but first, yeah, man, thanks, Primal Fear, for hooking us up with that intro. Went and saw them Friday night at the Super Crazy Arena in Gloucester, and yeah, man, they had a great match. Retained their titles. Yeah, always great seeing Primal Fear. They bring some amazing energy, and I cannot wait to see them on February 8th.
Sounds like you had a good time.
Oh, man, it was a great show. Not a lot of talent I had ever seen before, but you know, the opponents of Primal Fear, I think their name was Damage Incorporated. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, two guys from Jersey, young guys. You know, had a great gimmick going. You know, they put on a great match. Homeless Vaughn in the house. Homeless Vaughn had a great match. He lost, but still, you know, always great seeing Homeless Vaughn. Didn't really, you know, like I said, didn't really see too many wrestlers that I was familiar with, but you know, still a great show nonetheless. And I don't remember anyone's name. I would have to look at the Instagram page for the show. You know, but I mean, everyone there was a tremendous athlete. Everyone there was amazing. Great show. You know.
Yeah, glad to hear you had a good time. It's always great seeing some live wrestling at any level, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, Super Crazy puts on a great show. I'm glad I finally went to see one. Our next one is February 7th, and I'm going to try to make that, but I have a big day on the 8th, so don't know if I'll be able to make that show.
Yeah, SPO, Key to the City. And what a show that's shaping up to be. But at the moment, we could talk about SPO a little bit later. Let's start off with Raw, the Raw debut on Netflix.
Wow.
Before we get into anything, overall, what was your view of the show? Like it?
Well,
like
I mean,
it?
The wrestling was good. I was just kind of disappointed that we didn't see any surprises. You know, no returns, no Penta, no Becky, you know, none of that stuff that like everyone expected.
I mean, in place of Becky, we did get the Undertaker coming out with Rhea. You know,
that was weak.
I thought it was a cool moment just for the Rhea.
Yeah,
just
he
for
didn't
Rhea
do anything,
because
though, you know,
you could bring some similarities, but I get. I mean, at least it wasn't Hulk Hogan because, geez, that man get booed out that building.
We'll get to that. We will get to that.
Oh,
yeah, no, I mean, great show. I just not entirely what I expected, and apparently that was like, you know, I was listening to other wrestling podcasts, and they put it into perspective. Like that was a one-off for the network execs. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, it's also like we spoke about last week. You know, I said it was going to get treated like PLE. You know, with a little mixture of what's to come, but it's going to be a big show. It's their debut show. You know, like this is going into a new era and of streaming. Like we see AEW also going into that realm this year with their simulcast being now on Max as well. So eventually that's where it's all going to go, right? At some point
Right.
for everybody, we're going to be watching probably WWE stuff on Netflix, and maybe AEW will still be on TV with the simulcast thing. But, you know, eventually everything's going to streaming. That's been the trend. You know, which just brings me back to what do ratings really mean nowadays conversation? You know, because of how people are able to take in all this content, even for like the indie shows. Like we could see the highlights of them between fans and stuff just on Instagram.
Like we always joke about, there's more wrestling than time, and now we can try to take it all in.
Yeah.
But yeah, get into the chat real quick. Yeah, Rock. That was too much. And he wasn't even himself. JCW is the best wrestling. Yeah, they're really really good.
The
Heat
one
and
thing
heel.
with JCW I absolutely love is regardless who's on commentary, they just do a fantastic job in that juggalo way of getting stuff over. Like, and just some of the lines at certain times with certain characters out there. I won't say any names, just because.
What up, Tara?
Oh, Tara in the house. Welcome to the show. But yeah.
Backseat.
Yeah, she's probably the biggest backseat fan that any of us have ever met. To be perfectly honest. But yeah, I really did for Raw though. Really loved the opening package they showed.
Yeah.
Like, over the
at the same time,
it was introducing fans who might not have watched for a long time or first time viewers. Like, it was very well done, I thought.
The whole time I'm sitting there and just every 30 seconds, let's go. Like it was just too long, too much. I mean, I get it and everything, but as like a regular fan, I'm sitting there like, come on, we should be halfway into a promo by now.
I mean, we also grew up seeing all this. It's not the first time we've seen packages like this with the exact same clips.
Welcome, Cuban Mano.
Welcome. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Triple H did, his usual shtick in the ring, getting the fans all hyped up for this new era. But then, as it was brought up in chat, The Rock in his 20-minute, practically 20-minute promo, which this wasn't the final boss we saw. This was like good guy, saying the right stuff. This was like Dwayne Johnson coming out. Like, we had a night where he complimented Cody, said that Cody's carried this company. The last time we saw them two anywhere near each other, it wasn't exactly such a nice conversation.
Right. Yeah, it was weird. It was uncomfortable, and I know it's leading to something.
I could see it both ways, that this was, as I think it was Bully that said it on Busted Open last Monday, that this was him coming out and just being Dwayne, saying the right stuff, putting everything over. It's a big moment for the company. So, but hey, it is what it is. Like, we even got a video of Rock and Cody drinking tequila together.
Oh, yeah.
Online.
Yeah, out in the parking lot there. Oh, yeah, I just wanted to explain real quick. Heel Mark brought it up, the Eagles game that's on right now, and that is why I'm not in my usual spot, because I can't see the TV from there. And kind of a big game, so...
Yeah, it is that playoffs. Yeah, I agree with Captain exactly. Hill. Yes, 100%. And we all expected The Rock to be there either way because of the opening match. We get Tribal Combat, Roman and Solo, and boy, I feel bad. And I had this impression that I felt bad for the next match, the follow-up. Because that match was just, we've been seeing this story, like I said recently, for over 3 years now, just from beginning to get to where we are now. And we didn't get the Paul Heyman heel turn like I speculated.
Cheers, Tara. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, man, get as many people as you can in there.
Yeah, and we will see you then.
We will see you then.
At Harris and Chester. But yeah,
sorry, go
on. I really enjoyed the match. Like, I thought that match could have easily main evented, which is a great kickoff to give you the first show on Netflix. We're just handing you a main event. Yeah,
I just might, Sarah. I just might.
Yeah, anybody that shows up to the show in Backseat Silvers gets a free ticket to the April show.
Who would dress up in Backseat Silver? I mean, you would have to be some kind of
what is it? Oh God. Oh, yeah,
anyone who dresses
Marks.
up in right
There
there.
it is.
You'd have to be some kind of Marks. Yeah, way to put it. Way to put it.
I mean, when you start off with that big of a match, like it's going to peak at points, But they put on a great match. Like that crowd was hot that entire time. I enjoyed it. I was on the edge of my seat for it. I wish I had been filming myself at the time. So I think it would have made for some really great content.
I figured as much, Sarah. I saw your post before Tommy stole it. Well, Lions aren't a threat right now.
And just Paul Heyman during the match at ringside and some of the fan footage I saw was absolutely great. Like, I thought the match was very well put together from beginning to end.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The one shocking moment I had was when KO came out. Which then, as we speculate, how would they get Cody actually on the show?
Right. Besides, like, hey, look who's in the front row. It's the champion of the other show.
And you don't even have your show's champion in the building appearing. Just saying that was one of the things I would consider a down for me for the show. Like, you bring over that champion. What does that say about your view of the World Heavyweight Championship?
Right. Oh yeah, no, heel mark. Yeah, I'm loving it. Here he goes again.
But yeah, what a great match. Roman picks up the win. And then that was a moment of Heyman preparing to put that around him. And then we get the Rock back out. And I thought that was going to be the kickoff of something. Like, the Rock just came out and cut the ultimate babyface corporate promo, being a guy on the board and everything. Plus, it's the Rock, so you want him on the premiere.
The whole show was like a swerve fest because the swerves were that there were no swerves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
serious. Hey, we're going into the next thing. Mrs. Danger Ginger, welcome. But yeah, I read that match really had me on the edge of my seat because, in all honesty, I could have seen Solo winning that match, and that would have made for a very interesting story.
I picked him. I thought Solo was going to win that match.
But it made sense because now we have a whole nother story with the Gorillas of Destiny and Jacob Fatu. Are they still going to follow Solo?
Right.
Or do they become the wild animals that they've been called and just, hey, Solo, you're gone. We don't need you anymore. Because Jacob Fatu would be a formidable leader of those three.
Oh yeah. Right, because Solo wasn't on SmackDown, correct?
No, he was off this week. He returns next week. They promoted that during SmackDown.
Right. Yeah, I was at the wrestling show, so I didn't see it. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I would love to see, everyone go off on their own without Solo, but I feel like now's not the time for that. You know what I mean?
Solo to leave the group. Them to kick Solo out and go off on their own would make more sense because Solo's still dangerous alone.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I feel like now's not the time for that.
I mean, you don't want to rush it. I would tease it the next couple weeks and maybe pull that trigger in the Rumble. Like Jacob Fatu eliminates Solo.
Yeah.
That where you just finally pull that trigger. Or they somehow are already eliminated or something and they cost him the match because he acts Like, pull that trigger then, because now you have a good 2.5 months to get them to WrestleMania, and maybe Solo versus Jacob at Mania.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I'm liking that.
Yeah, like I think, and then you can finally get Fatu into these other matchups that have been teased of him just standing toe to toe with people before somebody breaks it up. I 100% agree. Fatu's been being built up from the get-go. Like, he's one of the more guys who you never thought would have came to WWE or gotten in, and now that he's there, everybody just wants to see more. All these little teases we get of face-offs with him and people that never come down to anything. Like, I want to see Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, I think that they could be few. Like, those are two guys.
Or not Braun Strowman.
Oh,
Braun
Fatu.
Breaker, I feel like could have like a lifelong feud with him.
Yeah,
Like,
they could continuously cross paths for the next like 6-7 years. And just because they're that good that their paths always cross. Just like Jacob Fatu and Gunter. Jacob Fatu and Roman. Like, there's just names to continuously name off that we've never gotten to see.
Jacob Fatu, Bronson Reed.
Oh, God. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, now we're going to turn this whole thing's going to turn into fantasy booking. We're going to be like Busted Open, who doesn't stay on topic at all, and I still love the show. But yeah, so we get The Rock coming out afterwards, interrupting Heyman, putting the Ulafala over him, to have The Rock take the Ulafala from Heyman. And for a moment, I was waiting for The Rock to put the Ulafala on. I really was. I
definitely thought that was going to happen.
You know, and then because, like I said, we got good guy Rock. Now let's just shift it right back into gear, right? But no, he stays with what he was doing and acknowledges Roman as the tribal chief. And I mean, I guess as he should, right? In that position, if he's considered like the high chief or something, because they really kind of put that over in the video package.
Right.
They really did.
Yeah. He was just doing his Simone duty.
But yes, Roman Reigns wins. I acknowledge my tribal chief, as all should. And BJ has himself a nice adult beverage.
A non-alcoholic adult beverage. Gotta love dry January.
Miss Danger Ginger asking, but is it a mask for something more bigger? I mean, I think it was the premiere. It was just like The Rock's appearance on NXT. These were two
out of continuity kind of.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing. Which, while we are on the topic of The Rock, getting to see him share the screen with not only Ethan Page, which God, I would like to see them two cut promos against each other. But getting in that same moment to share the screen with his daughter, and what a moment for both of them. Just as a wrestling fan and knowing all that, and just was really cool to see.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, Rock. But next time we see him, it'll be a whole different Rock.
But the thing is, with The Rock, less is better. Less is more in the situation, because we know what could be happening, and even the idea of The Rock's involvement with WrestleMania is up in the air. There's been no confirmation one way or the other because of scheduling conflicts. I do know that was something, but the way The Rock talked between Raw and his NXT appearance, because he kind of tapped into that heel moment when he took a shot at the fans. Like, no matter what y'all complain. And it's true, like Cody, which I will say Cody should have never won the Rumble, and then the fans would have been more accepting of Rock Roman. But, booking decisions, whatever. Cody was booked like a champion for a whole entire year without a championship.
Right. As long as this is leading to Cody's heel turn, then I'm fine with it.
I still think we're ways off from that, but I think that now we're starting to get small seeds planted for it. So in the event it does happen, it's like, oh yeah, we have all this to call back on why.
Yeah, I'm not a Cena fan.
Heel Mark. I felt like he was more final boss in certain parts. We had talked about that. No, that was 100% board member Dwayne Johnson. I feel like, the way he acted and everything. Outside of Drake taking shots of tequila and then leaving the arena driving in his truck, like that's a questionable decision by the Great One.
I forget who said it. I think it was on Busted Open, but he said it's a face version of the corporate Rock character.
Yeah, and that's fine because that story really didn't need to progress in those moments. Let the fans, something WWE does really well that AEW does not. It allows its fans to digest the moment. We saw Roman lose. We saw Solo take that spot for him. And then Roman returns, and it's been a fight for him to get that back. And the fans have been behind him forever with this whole thing, even when he was a heel, because we acknowledge, like, you are good. This is what we've been waiting for.
I mean, total swerve, though.
I mean, yeah, but I guess no real swerve. It was definitely a main event. Oh, I think Ethan Page is on his way to the main roster at some point. Unless he wants to stay and help train the next generation like Tommaso Ciampa did for so long and Johnny Gargano. Like, they really stayed in NXT longer than they needed to. But yeah, so after that, we get John Cena and the first appearance of his farewell tour. And, he does the typical John Cena babyface style promo, putting over Raw being on Netflix, puts over LA, all that good stuff. And boy, when he started naming people off, you know who I was waiting for him to name?
Joe Hendry?
Yeah, I'm like, come on. I'm like, say his effing name. Say his effing name. You could ask Mrs. Danger Ginger. I am dead like this. Like, I am yelling at the TV for John Cena to say his name.
Yeah, it was a long shot.
But, it was a great promo, to really amp up. He names off plenty of people. He names off facing Cody, facing Drew.
Right.
Chasing after that record-breaking championship. A very interesting stat he also named off, which I made note of. It's been over 2,000 days since the last time John Cena won a match.
Yeah.
Like,
when was the last time we saw him? Not when he lost to Undertaker in WrestleMania, right? In that, like, goofy match?
No, because he lost that. He got squashed at WrestleMania.
But no, I'm saying, like, it was before that, right?
I want to say his last championship was the U.S. Championship. When he was doing the open challenges.
The open challenge, right. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, he hasn't been there.
Which is also why with this whole thing, I think we get a swerve on the retirement angle. They play up an injury angle in the fall to bring him back for WrestleMania the following year, so he gets a true send-off at WrestleMania, which, whether anybody's a fan of John Cena or not, he did carry the company for 15 years. And he was the face. He had, so it would be, I would love, just reading that comment just made me think of this. I would love for Joe Hendry to appear and bring up that John Cena didn't say his name. Or just say something online in a video or something. Like, even if it's not going to happen, that's just willing it into the universe. Yeah, Cena did exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah.
Like, this was his first appearance. The show wasn't about him. It was him giving the send-off, giving him the chance to declare for the Royal Rumble, which I speculated on would probably happen last week. So, it did. He did what he was supposed to do.
Oh, bounced.
And then after that, we get our Women's World Championship match. Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. What a match it was. What were your impressions of this?
Oh, man. This one had it all. I mean... I honestly thought Liv was going to retain. And there were a couple moments where it looked like she might. But
that was another great main event match that could have main evented the show.
Hey, you caught me.
Like 100% honest. Like, almost any of the matches of the 4 matches we saw, because for some reason they bumped off, probably because of The Rock, the Chad Gable match, and now that's a singles match next week on Raw. I guess,
right?
Which this was a match. Also, we talked about. We thought Becky Lynch would come out at some point.
Yeah,
and apparently there were plans. And they just got nixed for The Undertaker.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I do remember seeing that. I'm not that much of a Becky fan anyway, so I'm fine with it. But like, she's obviously coming back soon. Like,
yeah, they've all but confirmed that she signed a new contract,
and she's pretty much going to go after Rhea.
I mean, at this point now, if she doesn't return before the Rumble, she returns in the Rumble.
Yeah, probably wins it because, Well, I don't know. That depends. Is Charlotte in it?
That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, like this, what we got here. People need to stop hating on Cena when wrestling wasn't the cool scene. Yeah, I mean, I said, whether you're a fan or not, that Cena deserves this send-off.
And that's me. I was a guy I stopped watching from 2002 until probably like 2007, 2008. And when I came back, I was like, yeah, pretty much. Who is this guy? I don't like him.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Rhea and Becky for the title, but we just got that match at the last WrestleMania, I believe. It was Rhea and Becky. So I don't mind the idea of repeating these matches, but I always liked it better when, like, the Austin Rock trilogy at WrestleMania. It was from 15, 17, and 19. Like, we had anticipation build up to work back around to it.
Right.
Like, Cena Rock kind of made sense because they upped the ante the following year, which is a CM Punk thing. Part of the reason why he left the company, because he should have been the main event that year as champion. Like, yeah. But yeah, also, yes, I saw the announcement about Becky being in Starfleet Academy, and as a Star Trek fan, I'm very excited for that. But yeah, we get Rhea wins back the title that she never lost. She technically never lost the title. And they showed an interesting stat before the match started that in Rhea's run, Liv was the only person to pin her, not once but twice. Everybody else, like, I really like that they're showing stuff like that more, especially when it matters, because it puts a lot of context that for whatever reason, Rhea hasn't been able to defeat Liv. Be it outside interference, whatever.
Right. Yeah,
But yeah.
I mean, Dom has always been involved when they face each other, you know?
And that's what I was about to get to next. After the match, fun moment for us fans, you know. Dom, as he was called a gold chaser, I believe by Pat McAfee, he goes and tries to make up with Rhea, and Rhea just kicks him square in the nuts and hits him with a riptide. Absolutely beautiful. You know, I still was.
Yeah.
This is part of the reason why I would love to see a match with them too, because I think it would be over. Because the fans would eat up Rhea just mopping the mat with him the entire time. And would it hurt Dom any to take the loss to Rhea?
I just feel like there's no need. It's done.
Oh, yeah, now. Yeah. I feel like Rhea has to move on from this now. Maybe we see her defend it.
If she would have lost, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think we see her and Liv somehow cross paths one more time. Maybe at Elimination Chamber. Maybe Rhea defends the title there.
In the chamber?
Yeah. It would be a good way to build her up for Mania on whoever she's going to face.
Right.
Because I definitely think the winner of the Royal Rumble will chase for the Women's World title. I feel like Charlotte will return on SmackDown, and maybe that'll be a lead up to Tiffy and Charlotte at WrestleMania. So I think that it would be a good test for her, a sink or swim moment. Hey, Dirty Dom had coming to him. He had all that coming to him. To be fair, Dom brought that on himself. He allowed a crazy Jersey girl with chicken tendies to blind him.
Hey, man. Happens to the best of us.
But yeah. And then we get the Undertaker appearance at the top of the ramp. You know, I thought that's just a cool moment because, you know, they have their little choice of words. And for anybody to get to share the screen with a legend is a pretty big moment for them.
I don't know. I'm watching like, why is this happening? This is pointless.
Yeah, it felt kind of weird, but I was like, I just looked at it as like, well, that's just a cool moment for Rhea to have on screen. You know?
No, you know what Taker moment was cool? When he came out of nowhere and came into the ring and just whispered something into Bray Wyatt's ear. That was cool. There was a little bit of mystery there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was just like, hey, congratulations. Yeah, I'm sure if Rhea's natural reaction should have been like, what are you doing here?
But you know, it was just a cool moment. And for somebody on the roster that they looked at that moment and was like, Rhea's the person for that moment. Because otherwise, Undertaker appears during Tribal Combat for some random reason,
or just have him come out.
You know, I just don't think Undertaker's the one to really be cutting promos anymore.
Yeah, true.
You know,
he wouldn't have to. He just like, thank you for coming to Raw on Netflix.
Love you, Mrs. Danger Ginger.
Peace.
Enjoy the rest of your night at work. You know, but I see the other side of the coin on it too, because that was my initial thought. How random it was, but like I said, I just thought it was a cool moment. You get to share the screen with somebody like The Undertaker, and Rhea does get that kind of, without the darker parts of it, you know, of The Undertaker gimmick. Sometimes, like, you know, having that moment, Rhea's a powerhouse.
He's my
Hey.
hero.
Hey, but hold on. No random thumbs ups, right?
It hasn't happened yet.
All right. Because we said his name. But yes, and then we get a backstage thing real quick, which pretty much they had pulled the tag team match off the card with Chad Gable and I guess whoever was going to team with him against Rey Mysterio and a mystery partner. And now next week, that is a one-on-one match between a confirmed the best luchador in wrestling next week versus Chad Gable. So
is it definitely a one-on-one?
Yes. Pierce said that
it will
now. Yeah, Pierce said it will now be one-on-one.
Okay.
I think they shifted Rey Mysterio somebody else into a match with the New Day.
Yeah, because that's what I thought the match was.
That it looks like they're kind of side shifting with that, which is fine. You know, Rey Mysterio
was supposed to be Rey and a mystery partner against New Day, right?
Which
on Netflix Raw.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the compliment there, Cuba. We do our best, you know. We're just fans talking wrestling, and we like that you guys are here. Helps keep us out there, helps the algorithm. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Chad Gable consistently, I think, is really undervalued in WWE. Like, he's constantly on TV and he puts on spectacular matches every week. Every time we see him.
Oh, very nice.
You know, I would love to see him actually have a championship run. I thought last year we were going to see him win the Intercontinental title. But they ended up going with the whole Sami Zayn at WrestleMania stuff, which was fine. That was a cool moment. I'd love to see Sami have that moment. But yeah, so is this the Penta debut this week finally? Or do we get swerved again and it's some other luchador? Or it's Rey Mysterio?
It's Dragon Lee.
I mean, hey, I'm just going to, that wouldn't work. I don't know. Could it be Rey Fenix magically? Talk about swerving everybody, right? I feel like that Chad should have been the one to beat Sami in the end. Oh, you know, but it is what it is.
They needed that feel-good moment.
Yeah. I mean, Chad Gable would have been a feel-good moment, too.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely going to be Penta.
Yeah, because, you know, a show like how Raw was, it doesn't surprise me something had to get pulled from the card.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, so then...
Tozawa?
No. American Alpha.
I'm thinking of...
Yeah.
No, that is American Alpha.
No.
Oh, no, that's Alpha Academy.
American Made. American
Made.
Yeah. Wherever they are now. They're American. We know that. Yeah, so then we get that quick backstage stuff, setting up that match for tomorrow night on Raw. And next we get Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. First of all, just when I saw that their match was up next, I felt bad for them. Because no matter what, if they came out after Roman and Solo, there's like just the placement of the match and the fan reaction, you know, like that energy.
Yeah.
But boy, even through the entrance, and who was it? Travis Scott.
Okay. American Alpha was Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. That's right. I totally forgot about them.
They remind me a lot of Team Angle. Of Shelton and Haas.
Okay, yeah, when Gable had the long hair, I remember. Okay,
Yeah.
before
Early
Jordan
NXT.
and Seth Rollins tag team reign.
But yeah, because it was Travis Scott that came out with Jey Uso, right?
Yes.
Oh man, number one, that reimagined, updated version of the Hardcore Championship, I absolutely love. That was a very cool belt to see. Yes, I do agree with that. Gable is the modern day Kurt Angle. They even have sample of Kurt Angle's theme song in the American made theme so that the fans can still chant "You suck." Props to whoever that idea was to do that.
Always, all my life.
But yeah, so what did you think of Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre?
What a match. Trying to remember. So long ago. Oh,
They had their match was a bit of a back and forth. Drew dominated mostly in that match, though. Like Drew really has it out for anybody bloodline at the moment.
right. Yeah, and I really hope this is leading to that faction that we were talking about.
I definitely think there's something there for it. It's just how you bring it together. No, it could be worse.
Never.
You could be a Red Sox fan.
Oh, I love the Red Sox.
I do agree with that, and I only feel
I was
like
at the 2004 parade.
I only feel like the match felt like a filler match because we had two main event caliber matches before it. We had John Cena's appearance, and then we have Uso McIntyre, and we, as fans, whether you're home or especially in that crowd, like that energy level kind of dipped during that match, but also Drew dominated a lot of that match. It did definitely have that filler feel, but not like a normal Monday Night Raw filler match would be, right?
Wait, was that match the really short match?
Yeah.
I remember there was a match that was like really short.
Yeah, it wasn't as long as the others. I mean, a lot of Jay's time went to his entrance, with Travis Scott,
right? Yeah,
partaking in some Snoop Dogg-esque activities live on Monday Night Raw on Netflix,
while surrounded by children.
Not even Snoop Dogg's that bold. But yeah, Jey Uso just ends up rolling up Drew McIntyre for the win. Like, just gets his shoulders down. Drew kind of brought it on himself. He should have put him away when he had the chance.
Yeah, I remember after that match. Now that I remember it, I remember after that match, I was like, that was it? Like, yeah. I was barely even able to, like, really get into that one.
Yeah, as quick as it started, once that bell rang, it went pretty quick. And then, boy, one of the more controversial moments of the night, if not the most controversial moment of the night, was Hogan coming out. And boy, did that LA crowd really show that they did not like Hulk Hogan. Yeah,
I agree. That was an amazing moment.
Yeah. Boy, you would think Snoop was a 15-year veteran in that moment.
But yeah, Hogan, wow. I messaged you guys in the group thread. I was like, that was painful to watch.
Yeah, it really was. And so online on some conversation threads like on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, seeing people, other fans talk about it.
There's a shirt up on Wrestling Tees that says crowd booing. And it's like a red shirt with the yellow font.
Yeah.
The Hogan font. Yeah.
But
yeah, that was brutal.
And there's a lot to be said that a lot of us more hardcore wrestling fans, those of us that, we will always consider a mark that, we grew up watching. Hogan always politicked his way to the top, and to stay on top. And us as fans knowing this, we already had distaste for him. And then we get the whole race comments thing, the whole love sponge thing, and then the whole him coming out saying so he supports Trump. Now, you know what? Politics shouldn't play into this at all. But I get people are going to express their views, and I will argue anybody that says it's because he's a Trump supporter, because Undertaker came out to support Trump. Triple H and are known Republicans, and none of them were getting booed in LA for it. I just think the fans. I mean, I think part of it's also he shouldn't have been there. I don't ever think of Hulk Hogan and Monday Night Raw. I think Hulk Hogan,
right, yeah.
Nitro.
Yeah. As far as Hogan goes, and like growing up, WrestleMania 3 was what, 86?
Yeah.
So I was almost 6 years old. Yeah. So I was almost 6 years old, and I had just gotten into wrestling a little bit before that, and up through the NWO era, I was a kid, a teenager, watching this guy, experiencing all the other wrestlers at the same time. But like when I was a kid, I loved Hogan, and even when I was a teenager, I had a lot of respect for him. But then in the social media age, the more you find out, and people like are well aware of who this guy is now, and no one's going to cheer for this guy anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up loving Hogan when I was a kid, and I'm indifferent anymore. You know what I mean? Like, please keep him off TV, please.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to be honest. I was never a Hogan fan as a kid. I was the Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Rick Flair.
I loved Macho Man. I loved Warrior. But Hogan was the first. He was the guy who got me into wrestling.
Now, I will say this. In LA, I do believe a lot of it was also politically motivated boos.
I don't think so.
No, because that California...
He's generally not liked.
No, but also California, especially in LA, is very Democrat. Like, they're hardcore. So, and Hogan did appear with Trump. I mean, Taker had him on his podcast, but he was never at the rally, And Hogan has Hogan has soured his name over the last 15, 20 years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Taker, he might get a little heat if he were also a liar, a racist, indulger, etc.
Yeah, like, less people already didn't have respect for Hogan. Now, I'm also going to say this. As I was saying, I don't think of Monday nights for Raw and think Hulk Hogan.
Tully Blanchard, okay. The Cuban Assassin, okay. I remember hearing the name. I don't think I've seen him in action
now. Now I feel like also you gotta be careful where you parade him out in front of. But the show that Hulk Hogan should have appeared on, Saturday Night's Main Event, because most of his
but he's not going to. He's going to catch boos no matter where he goes.
No, but I'll disagree with that. If you're in a very Republican area, he'll probably get cheered. Like if he appears,
there's plenty of reasons to boo him. Like, yeah, sure, it was a little louder in LA.
No. I agree. Like, there's plenty of reasons for fans, whether it's personal views, political views, or as a wrestling fan, knowing how much good and then how much damage he almost did to the industry as well by holding other towns down. Like Chris Jericho being one of them in WCW. But at the same time, I will also say I might have never been a Hogan fan, but we never get the Raw debut on Netflix without Hulk Hogan paving the way for the next generations of superstars to continue that building.
But that's no reason to wheel out his saggy brown body and like make him go through his lines while he's clearly getting booed, and
Yeah,
you know,
not
it was
even
just
Jimmy
weird
Hart.
and uncomfortable.
Yeah, not even Jimmy Hart being out there was able to save that.
Yeah,
But
well, you
that's
didn't
painful
really
for
try.
me. No, but Jimmy Hart typically can get a pop. Those fans were hyper focused on the fact that Hogan should not have been there. That was definitely another down for me for the show, because why are you parading Hogan out? Like, was this a Netflix exec's decision because of also the sponsoring of his beer?
It could have been like Triple H's ego.
You know what? I'd be okay with that.
Putting him out there knowing he's going to catch booze.
Yeah, I felt for Jimmy Hart as well, because he didn't deserve to be a part of that moment.
Yeah,
But all the
I
memes
love
that have
Jimmy Hart.
all the memes that have come from it now, though, I absolutely love. Especially like the ones that were like from The Simpsons. The are they booing me, Smithers? No, they're saying boo Earns. But yeah, that was just incredibly painful to watch.
Yeah, that was rough. Fortunately, it was short.
It could have been shorter.
Or yeah, well, he committed to it. He went out there. He has to say the lines. He has to rip the shirt. He has to do it all.
And you know what? I'll give props to him for still going through the whole deal. And going out there and doing his job. But that had to be a shot to his ego. Because Hogan will always think Hogan's the most relevant person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even in my rewatches of old WCW stuff, I'm working up to World War III 98. And it's during the presidential campaign for that year. And he's parading out like he's running for president. He even brought out some Monica Lewinsky cosplayer or whatever and told him to take her to his office. Like, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was entertaining, but ridiculous. But
yeah, he had to.
I just think that the next time we see him, it should be on a show that's more relevant to his era. That would probably get a bit more of a pop, like Saturday Night's Main Event, because a lot of his big matches happened on Saturday Night's Main Event, not just the WrestleMania. Before big pay-per-views every month were a thing. And
I say, yeah, just keep him far from the camera.
I mean, I agree with that as well. And I hope that he just stays off in the background. And at least I know I only have one more year of Jeff Jarrett, and then I don't know who I'll hate in wrestling anymore.
We're getting there.
Yeah, Heel Mark's he's excited to talk about NXT. But yeah, so then let's get to the main event of Monday Night Raw. CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
Wow. This
was a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It might just be.
Yeah, there's still time to tell, but quite literally, this is a match that was a WrestleMania main. That was, well, I think I read somewhere that they pushed this matchup and Rhea and Liv from WrestleMania card to have it on this show, which I think was a great decision. I enjoyed the hell out of that match.
Match was amazing.
Like, those two really went out there like it was the biggest match of their careers.
And of course, last week I said something about Becky coming out during that match and interfering and having an return.
I was waiting for it.
So when she didn't come out during the women's match, I was like, oh my God, she's going to come out. Oh my God, this is going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of got that same impression. I'm like, because of the mention, even without AJ Lee, just Becky coming out to support.
Right.
I think that their match didn't need a controversial finish because of the fact that it was the first show on Netflix. And like I had speculated about the idea last week of this match being the last match for a reason. Right? Like we were going to get some type of big swerve. Like something was going to happen. But either way with this, I don't think this feud is over. I think that we're going to circle back around to this really quick. And that kickoff could be to set that back in motion, could be at the Rumble, and they somehow eliminate each other from the Rumble. One eliminates the other and then goes in, which I absolutely hate in Royal Rumbles. Once you're eliminated, if you go back in the ring and eliminate somebody, they shouldn't be eliminated because they weren't eliminated by a legal participant in the match. Nice.
Sorry.
But yeah, like, I love that they redid the ending of Mox and Punk from AEW.
Yes. Good, you noticed that. Yes. Yeah, that was dope.
It's a really cool spot to see. And the fact that he's had it with both those guys.
Yeah.
Next is Roman.
Well, yeah. It only makes sense. I have them often.
But wow. Like, these guys really, like I said, they went out there and did their thing. Like, you can see there's obvious chemistry. There's big money to be made with these guys down the road.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
And I think that's in the short term. I would love to see somehow CM Punk get his hands on that title.
I could see it happening.
And because originally, last year at WrestleMania, if Rollins hadn't been injured and had to be moved into the match with Cody for the tag team match, we might have seen Punk and Rollins for that world championship.
Yeah.
But, then that brings up the conversation of the cash-in, right? Does Damian Priest actually cash in?
Right. Yeah.
Which, after the match they had on Monday night, if that was a world championship match and I was a Money in the Bank briefcase holder, I'm cashing in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like 100%. Like, those two guys beat the crap out of each other. That the curb stomp Punk hit was a little sketchy.
Yeah.
That was hit on him. Oh.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Wow, I just popped for the Eagles game. I think the Eagles just intercepted that. No, that's
it was
anyway. But yeah, as Cuba said in the chat, I think Roman versus Punk is coming. So do I.
I hope so.
I definitely think that match is coming as well, but it's just a matter of when. Because we also have the idea of the whole thing with the favor from Punk, Roman being in the Rumble, now. Which, yeah, from Friday night, Paul Heyman coming out and declaring Roman for the Rumble. But yeah, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, I want to see it again.
Picked off.
I definitely want to see that match again.
I don't know.
Roman
they could get it there.
Roman versus Punk would almost have a Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels feel to it, kind of like how Seth and Drew did. Because the fan base is obviously behind both of them.
I'll be right back.
Like, it would be that would have, to put it into terms at WrestleMania, I would almost say like Warrior Hogan, Rock Hogan feel to it, because the fans would be back and forth. It'd be like a Cena versus anybody match from like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where you just heard half the crowd chanting, "Let's go Cena," and the other half chanting, "Cena sucks." I don't know, man. a call up winning the Rumble would be a very special moment for anybody coming out NXT, especially being the first one to do it.
If anyone could do it this year, who would it be?
That what brought that up was heel Mark saying that Roxanne Perez.
I'm seeing that now.
Yeah.
But how about men's?
For the men, in all honesty, Trick Williams. I could see him getting thrust into the spotlight in a sink or swim moment.
I don't think he's there.
But I don't think the men's Rumble has that moment built into it this year at all. The women would have the built-in moment because any women called up from NXT right now is coming out of the best women's division in wrestling right now. We were talking about this before the show started. Doing Rock Roman a third year in a row, I think there needs to be a step back. And if you're going to do part 3, which I think we get Cody Roman 3 at some point down the road, I don't think that would be at least till WrestleMania 42. Because I think this year would be Rock Roman, if anything can be confirmed. You know? Because now there's speculation of The Rock entering the Rumble and somehow costing Roman, you know? So...
Right.
It would be a bold move for Roxanne to go after Rhea. Because didn't Roxanne defeat Tiffany to begin with for the NXT in her first NXT title run?
Believe so.
I think Roxanne could handle the moment, but I think she deserves the build up to a main roster championship. There we go. Get the words out my mouth.
Yeah.
I would like to see her get the build up because just like they did with Tiffany Stratton at the Royal Rumble last year, right? Like think about this, a year ago, she had no response from that crowd. To now, the pops that she was getting even before cashing in Money in the Bank. Like, she's come full circle, and it's great to see. I think Jordynne Grace, personally, goes directly to the main roster now. They've seen her in the NXT system, and I think... Because, think about this. She's faced anybody who would be really relevant in NXT at this point. And there's a great other matches for her to have, like a Rhea Ripley, Jordynne Grace feud for the championship. Like
I'd like to see her get a run in NXT.
I feel like she's had that NXT run already, just by appearing there with NXT, and she's already been in the Royal Rumble twice. I think there's a lot of matchups on the main roster, and that she's main roster ready. Jordynne Grace is now. If we were talking about somebody like Joe Hendry. Yes, I think Joe Hendry would shine on the main roster, but I think he could still use just that little bit of NXT to build that WWE engine up for him. To rev up into the main roster. Jordynne Grace is somebody that the main roster knows. She doesn't need to be built up. Everybody knows her credentials, even if they don't watch TNA. You know, and a lot of WWE fans don't. So for her to get the pops that she gets... between whether it's a Royal Rumble appearance or NXT appearance proves that she can handle the big time. I mean, think about it. Penta's is skipping over NXT.
Yeah, but Penta's way more experienced.
Jordynne Grace has been around for a long time now.
Nowhere near as long as Penta.
No, but she's been around a while now. Just like Ethan Page. Ethan Page could shine on the main roster. He didn't need NXT.
No, he didn't need NXT, but
it's a great spot for him. No. But I'm just saying, like, it's a great spot for him. And I think for him, it's because he's very dedicated to bringing up the next generation. That was part of the motivation for him wanting to be there, which all due respect. You know, that's all respect to him. But yeah,
it's more so like where they put people, not where people should be or want to be, you know.
Yeah, CM, and then before we move on to NXT, we got the switch over as soon as the show ended. If you were watching on YouTube for the post show, we get the CM Punk interview where he pretty much calls his shot and says, regardless of who it is, he's coming for him. You know, I'm definitely interested to see where CM Punk goes for here because both of these men could have taken the loss and been fine. It's definitely, I think, a more interesting story now with Rollins taking the loss because where does he go from here?
Right.
They've been talking about on Busted Open heavily on and off about Rollins dropping the gimmick, right? Stop being this like Joker-esque character and becoming that more serious like he was when he was the Architect, when he was part of whatever that new version of the corporation was then. You know, when
Right,
he
the
turned
Authority.
on Rome. Yeah. So, you know, I'm definitely interested to see character-wise where he goes from here now. Because this has to be a shot to his ego, right? And that's something that Seth Rollins is very, very egotistical. He has, you know, he has that in him, and we've seen it. Even now, him being a babyface, we still see it. But yeah, so heel mark, the moment you've been waiting for. Let's talk NXT New Year's Evil because a week of big shows, right? There is no rest. And this show, boy, does it kick off with a banger. We kick off with Roxanne Perez defending the NXT Women's Championship against Julia. And what a match these women put on. It was a bit shorter than I thought it was going to be. But did they show up? What were your thoughts on this match?
I actually did not catch NXT.
Oh, wow.
I know what happened and everything. I just did not. I'm trying to remember what I was doing Tuesday night.
All right, so Julia Roxanne, they put on a banger of a match with the time they were given. And Julia defeats her and becomes the new NXT Women's Champion. Which I kind of figured that's where they were going. I think Roxanne's getting called up at some point now.
So do you think it's going to be an immediate call up? I think I fell asleep. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep early that night.
Did you do a live stream on your other channel that night? Because I think I popped into that one.
Was that night?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I must have just done my live stream and then. Yeah, I don't know. I had a crazy one.
But anyway, yeah. Boy. And, you know, I think Roxanne's ready for the main roster. It's just. Yeah.
Do you think it'd Rumble?
Yeah, real quick. That's a very good point made by Cuba. In the past week, all three top shows, women's championships, have changed hands.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely. And boy, that NXT women's division is just so amazing. Like, they have a stacked division, and when a lot of them get called up, it's going to be a real power shift on the main roster. There's a lot of great matches that there's going to be had. It's going to be interesting to see how Roxanne, if she is getting called up, regardless what show she's on, how she deals with that size disadvantage. Because a lot of the women on the main roster are not just like more built, but they're also taller. You know, the likes of like a Bianca Belair, a Jade Cargill, a Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, you know. Like, it's definitely will be interesting to see some of those matchups for her. I can see her making her full call up because she was, I believe, in last year's Rumble as well.
Yeah.
I can see her being in the Rumble, and then we get an official call up right before or right after that, you know, with the Rumble appearance. And then we have an interesting segment backstage after that match where Eddie Thorpe appears to have been attacked. Shocking, right? Somebody's attacked Eddie Thorpe. Oh no. With Cuba there. Yes, I agree. But AJ Lee definitely was the difference in towards paving that road to get the women's division to where it was at. Because she was one of the last real holders of that butterfly championship.
Yeah, the Divas Championship.
Because then we had Paige's debut, where she put her over. Like, there were just a lot of moments, and I would love to see AJ Lee back. I just don't think that she has that itch anymore. Because if she was going to have that itch, she would have gotten it back when she was filming for Heels. Because she does appear in that show. But even then, she had a stunt double in that show doing stuff too. So the itch just might not be
Maybe
there
she got
for
really
her.
fat.
No, she hasn't. I've seen recent pictures of her.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, as he said, never say never. I definitely agree with that, especially in pro wrestling. But yeah, so Eddie Thorpe appeared to be attacked, and then we get a moment later where Oba Femi sees Ava and was like, "Yeah, I attacked him because of what he did to me last week." So we definitely had up in the air later in the show about the NXT title match, which we will get to, because the next match after that was the Fatal 4-Way number one contenders match for the Women's North American Championship. And boy, was that a good match. Those ladies also went out there and put on a show in a Fatal 4-Way. This women's division is just amazing. And these ladies, Cora Jade, Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, Stephanie Vakir, put on an amazing Fatal 4-Way match. Stephanie Vakir is now the number one contender. But even now, I think that might be a bit up in the air. Because it looks like she has to put that on the line and get Shotzi next week. This really weird thing, but whatever, I'm looking forward to that match. Those two should be able to put on a pretty good match. Yeah, and then speaking of Shotzi, I guess the fans have dubbed the team up of her, Tatum Paxley, and Gigi Dolan as Chemical X.
Oh, they have a name now.
No. WWE has a name. It's been more of a fan-given thing, like the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh.
Because it was Chemical X that was used to make them.
Hold on. We have a correction here.
That match,
Possibly.
that Fatal 4-Way was announced as a number one contenders match. So Stephanie Vakir should be the number one contender. But, I mean, hey, that's a continuity error on WWE's part for making it confusing to fans, Like, hey, I'm all for somebody's number one contender, and if they were to get beaten, they should no longer be the number one contender. There's a thing there, just like if a random person pins a singles champion, there's something to say whether it's a tag team match or a non-title match. I mean, they could be doing it twice in a row, but they did announce on NXT that was a number one contenders match for the Women's North American Championship. That's how they announced it on the show, and the week before they announced it as such when they made the match. But hey, number one contenders match, hey, screw it. We get to see Stephanie and Shotzi. Stephanie will win and still be the rightful number one contender. Because obviously they're pushing this next generation up now. And a women's division where their top two titles are held by Julia and Stephanie Vakir. That's a heck of a guards to get past the gates. But yeah, we had the Chemical X Fatal Influence match, it was an okay match. It was pretty much what I expected out of these ladies. which, you know, again, jam-packed division for the women, right? There's probably more great women in that division than there's time to have them on TV, even between 2 weeks. Something, and then now, we talked about this earlier. Ethan Page complaining to Ava why he's not on the show in a backstage segment. And a moment which, as I said earlier, I absolutely loved was when The Rock walked in and he got to share the camera with his daughter. Ethan Page, hell of a moment for Ethan Page. Like, I would love to see them two in a dream feud. Because Ethan Page is no slouch on the mic. And he's no slouch in the ring. And just the promo battles between them two would be amazing. Ethan Page, after that, had posted a video on Instagram. And it was as he was leaving her office, and he's like, yeah, man, The Rock was able to smell what Ethan Page was cooking. And oh yeah, he said I had a sweet ass. Because The Rock did say that to him as he was walking and like smacked him, like the sports smack on the ass, whatever. But yeah. What we got? Yeah, so they're just making her defend the number one contendership because Shotzi does have a claim to it, as she did pin Fallon Henley in that match. So that just brings, you know, she has a legitimate claim somehow to it, so that's fine, you know. Let's run with it, you know. You're not giving the title match right away, so you need to do something with them for a bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed that whole segment. That was really entertaining on NXT. And then something that I was upset about with last week's NXT was when they took the Heritage Cup away from Lexis King to make him to set up another sudden death match. Which, by the way, Lexis King and Charlie Dempsey, they have chemistry in the ring. Those two put on a good match between the match 2 weeks ago to this past week. Absolutely amazing. I was happy to see Lexis King get that cup back because I think he deserves it. I'm interested to see where that story goes.
What's up, High Standards?
High Standards, how you doing? I'm definitely interested to see where Charlie Dempsey goes from here now. Do we see him maybe transition into maybe chasing after Tony D'Angelo?
Right.
Oh, that's super cool, Cuba, that Lexis King is a personal friend of yours. I am a fan of his, and I love where they've been leaning with his character. And I'm very interested to see where they go with it.
I can see him doing that. I can definitely see him doing it at some point.
It would depend on who and the type of match, because you would want that to be maybe something like, if it were going to be one-on-one when we got to the next one, maybe a Trick Williams-Oba Femi rematch on Saturday night's main event. I could definitely
shout if it was for this upcoming one.
Yeah, you know, that's maybe the route I would go. I would even go Roxanne Julia rematch.
Right.
That's definitely a direction I would go with that as well. I don't see, because you would bring out whoever's at the top of that card. Maybe even I would parade a tag team match out there with Fraxium to introduce that team to the main roster. Rest in peace, Brian Pillman. Was always one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I loved it when him and Austin were the Hollywood Blondes in WCW. They were a very underrated team, and didn't get the real shot they deserved to dominate that division because they were well over at the time. But yeah, let's get into the main event of NXT with Trick Williams defending against or minimum maybe half the match because of the fact that Obafemi attacked him. So he wasn't even out there for the start of the match. We pretty much got a good amount of time of a one-on-one match between Oba and Trick, which, by the way, I would love to see them have a one-on-one rematch. I think them doing the Oba attacking Eddie Thorpe storyline is so that we have a clear direction of where Obafemi is going to be going next.
Right.
Which is going to be, and it makes sense, because I think Trick Williams is going to get called up. I can see him being in the Rumble this year. And it's a spot I think he deserves. I think that we could be coming around to possibly Mello and him getting back together on the main roster. I would love to see it. Because Mello hasn't just seemed out of place, but he's starting to realize that he's a bit outnumbered on the main roster. He definitely... Whoa, thumbs down. That was from when you rubbed the back of your head.
Oh.
I can figure that one out. But yeah,
it wasn't Bray Wyatt again.
These guys put on a hell of a main event for New Year's Evil. Eddie Thorpe eventually joins the match, and we get Trick Williams miss a trick shot with the chair, but hits Eddie Thorpe. Obafemi gets a hold of him, puts him down, and we have a new NXT champion in Obafemi. What a moment. A friend of mine and even myself, when we first saw him for the breakout tournament, just look at him and like, boy, just looking at him, he's going to be a problem. Like, where's he going to be for a year from now?
Yeah, Trick will be in the Rumble.
And Obafemi, I think, is one of those guys who we're eventually going to be able to look at like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Not like,
and hopefully not a guy we look at like Omos.
Well, Omos falls almost for me into the Great Khali territory. You're big, you kind of have it, but you don't just got it all together yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm saying, I just hope like they book him right. Like,
yeah, 100%.
It's always a fear. I mean, I know Triple H is a lot better, but it's always a fear with call-ups that you like, are they going to book him into the ground, or are they going to book him at all?
Yeah. And then we close out NXT with The Rock. We kind of see a little bit of Final Boss peel out when he takes a shot at the fans, which if you listen to Busted Open, Dave LaGreca takes it as a personal shot to himself. Because Dave LaGreca was pretty much the leader of the Cody Crybabies. He was a part of that fan movement because Cody won the Rumble. I wish I could have met Andre. That would have been absolutely amazing. I think there's a lot upside heel mark to Obafemi. And I think we're just seeing the beginning of all of it starting to come together now.
I haven't seen enough of them to be a fan or not. I just, I just see what's there at this point.
Yeah, I definitely think he hasn't reached his ceiling yet. I think there's still a lot more character. Yeah. There's layers to be added, and now we're going to get those layers added. He's talking more now than he really did before. They're letting him present himself. Yes, The Rock did. They weren't unbelieved. I think they missed one, and then all the other ones they got. But Jesus, did he drop F-bombs on both shows? But that's just The Rock being The Rock, you know. What can we expect here? But yeah, you know, we just got that. He put over NXT. Good for him, you know. It was cool seeing him on NXT. Should have probably done it at the beginning of the show like Raw. Yeah,
Pretty much.
definitely. But yeah, let's see, where are we at here? Oh yeah, on AEW this week we had the return of Kenny Omega. It's nice to see him back. That was a very emotional promo that he gave, giving us all the details of everything going on. You know, and it looks like we're definitely getting a clear cut of where he's going to be going in AEW right now. That whole thing led to a matchup between him and Brian Cage next week.
Should be an interesting one.
Yeah, I really quickly have to go downstairs. I just heard something, so I will be right back. I am sorry.
All right. Well, hopefully everything's all right down there. All right. I don't have the notes in front of me, so I can't like continue with the show at the moment. So I'll just sit here and awkwardly watch the Eagles game and try to come up with something to say, I guess. Yeah. What are everybody's thoughts on Malachi Black possibly coming back to WWE? How does everybody feel about that? Go ahead, talk in the comments. There we go. No, I am participating in Dry January, so I've been slugging stuff like this and stuff like this. So that's what I've been doing. No, February 1st though, I'll probably do some beer review videos, probably bang some of those out come February, but no, yeah, the Uncle Arnie's is great stuff. Every flavor I've tried has been amazing. Way too sweet though. That was the strawberry lemonade, and it was like it tasted like a Starburst, like almost exactly. Yeah, the Uncle Arnie's. It's one where like I would get a can to review, and I would drink it and just be like, oh, I'll get another one tomorrow. And then the next day I'd get two, and I would drink both. And then I get a 4-pack, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm drinking this tonight. So I still haven't managed to save one to review. Yeah, the watermelon's really good too. Hillmark, I'm not really a fan of Goose Island. Their IPA is okay. Game is going great. I think it's 10-0 Eagles still. Yeah, the Goose Island IPA is all right. I'm not really a fan of the Bourbon Counties or anything like that. I did have one from Goose Island that was amazing a couple years ago. It was Lost Palate. It was a mango cinnamon hazy IPA. Yeah, mango cinnamon hazy IPA. Excellent stuff. All right, it looks like he is back. Just about.
Ooh, yeah, I'm here.
Everything okay?
Well, yeah, besides now having the hiccups, yeah. I just heard something fall.
Oh, man. Gotcha.
So where are we at here? What's the conversation? What'd I miss?
We nothing, just me rambling. We just ended NXT, and I had brought up Malachi Black possibly returning to WWE.
Well, there's a yeah. Let me get this off my screen here. I don't know. Everything that I've read and heard right now has been more him leaving AEW, and this is the first time since every time those rumors have happened that we've kind of seen it on screen as well. Like, it's really the first time, even to the point where Will Ospreay, Buddy Matthews had a banger of a match to open up Dynamite this week, and afterwards, Will Ospreay cut a promo really putting him over, and then saying, if you ever need somebody, if you need somebody to have your back, I'm your guy. You know, which was a really awesome moment. And then we had the same thing on Collision with Cope and Brody King and Julia Hart. So, you know, like I could see the House of Black continuing without him. Maybe rename it. You know, let's not wait as long like we did with the Blackpool Combat Club.
Right. Yeah, they'd be fine without him.
Yeah. I can't see him going back to WWE, though. I mean, his wife works there, you know, Selena Vega.
Right.
So. And it would...
The matchups now compared to then.
Aleister Black versus Gunter.
Aleister Black versus Bronson Reed.
Aleister Black. I mean, we can revisit Aleister Black and Seth Rollins now. Like, there's a lot just, you know, Damian Priest.
He maintained that eye thing throughout his whole run, didn't he?
Yeah, he still does. Thank you, Cuba. Thank you so much. It is much appreciated. If you haven't already, you should definitely like and subscribe so you don't miss anything. We are working on
disappointing.
Yeah, man. Oh, but when he comes back, he's going to get an Uber babyface pop, and then probably Dominic Boo at the same time. Oh man, I'm there. Shut up and take my money.
Ooh.
Take my monies. I'm there.
Oh no, did someone die on the field?
No, somebody got hit in the end zone. As I sat down, it happened. Cuba as well. If you would like to follow us, I'm at the Danger Ginger 1 on Instagram. He's at BJ Drink over this way. BJ Drinks Beer. I can actually post the handles in the chat, but yes, it
I didn't hear all the details.
Yeah, his ankle was messed up. Like
like just absolutely just shattered.
Yeah, like it wasn't the prettiest thing on earth, you know.
Cuban, if you'd like to check out my...
I'm about to post I'm posting
all right,
our handles in the chat now. Yours is just it's what it is in the white right there, right?
And then 3070 on YouTube. See, this is what I like, man. We haven't been here too long. It's episode 9, and we have a little community a little community growing.
And then,
you know, I love it.
Mine, I just have the Instagram right now. Also posting in the chat. So if you would like, give us a follow. Yeah, like his ankle is like Lex Luger's forearm now.
Oh, and he's a big dude. That's not good.
I've seen video stuff. He has like one of those little like scooter type things, and he's moving around and stuff. So you know, hopefully he does has a pretty good recovery and can come back.
Oh yeah. definitely looking forward to seeing him again. But if it's, I mean, if he's a big guy and if he has a bad ankle, you can't have much hope for a lengthy career.
Yeah. We another thing, just real quick, from the Kenny Omega return and stuff, was the face off of him and kind of a stare off between him and Will Ospreay because of their history, and they look like they're on the same team right now. So I'm definitely, I think AEW's finally gearing itself back up. We're getting people return from injuries and stuff. I see it from both sides of AEW. I'm just a wrestling fan, and AEW I don't see as being the prime storytelling because they're not the WWE. And I don't want them to be
Yeah.
WWE. They're more like New Japan, where they just tried to also tell story at the same time. New Japan, all their stories basically told in small videos and in the ring. Oh, Romeo Dobbs was who got injured. Oh. But yeah, I'm a fan of AEW, even with all their flaws. When it comes down to a lot of their matches, they put on great matches. It's just it's a wrestling fan as your promoter getting the book matches. And it's definitely a difference. I agree with that. I do agree with that, or at least, if you still want to have say, that's fine. It's your company. You just need people around you to help you build better storylines. Like this whole Death Riders thing. One of my arguments to it is we still haven't really been given a true why. Boy, that was a look of slight disgust.
Yeah, it's pretty much like unflavored seltzer water. It's supposed to be like creamsicle flavored, and I'm not getting any of that.
But yeah, and then
Orange Crush.
Couple other things from Dynamite. We had MJF and Jeff Jarrett thing there after
that was a great back and
Powerhouse
forth.
Hobbs won the Casino Gauntlet, and
that was a really good match, by the way.
Yeah, that was really fun. I was surprised to see Hobbs win.
So was I.
But him and Mox should put on a pretty good match this week. I don't think we'll be disappointed.
Nope.
I don't see, maybe way down the line. He has an entire channel dedicated to this.
Yeah, almost exclusively.
Yeah, what did you say that was? Was that 3070 at the end, right?
BJ Drink Spear 3070. I actually have a couple videos, which I got to get back into doing, where I actually go to breweries and do like a diners, drive-in type thing. I interview staff, I interview people, I review a flight. Check it out.
But yeah, the Gauntlet Battle Royal was a fun match. I definitely enjoyed that.
I thought Hangman was going to win.
Well, from the way it looks, we're getting Hangman and Christopher Daniels this week, so that should be interesting. Right. But yeah, so something I ranted about last week, which I didn't even realize they didn't confirm the contract length, was this whole Jeff Jarrett final run, right? We got Jeff Jarrett kind of talking about it after not winning the Battle Royal. And he teases, wanting to win that world title one more time, which who wouldn't, right? His review channel is here on YouTube. Heel Mark.
Yeah, on Instagram, it's BJ Drink Spear. On YouTube, it's BJ Drink Spear 3070. But I'm not doing my reviews on Instagram anymore. But I am posting the stories and linking them from YouTube.
Well, I'm going to do everybody a favor here.
Yeah, we should,
And
hour 40 minutes in, we haven't plugged anyone yet.
that link there is the link directly to his review channel.
Man, check it out.
But yeah, so we get a confirmation after Jeff Jarrett says what he's going to say. He gets interrupted by MJF, which I was not expecting that, to be perfectly honest. Take that. Yeah, MLW's not bad. It's
MLW is pretty dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst neither. They did have a TV deal for a short time, and then they just disappeared off TV. I guess this the channel they were on. They didn't get the viewership they were expecting or something like that. I don't know the details behind it. But yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
MJF, man, I love MJF. He is one of the few wrestlers today that almost keeps, that's in like AEW, WWE, TNA, whatever, you know, who actually keeps kayfabe like The Undertaker. Like, you see him in public, he's MJF. He's not just Max or whatever, you know.
Well, that's because he's not acting. He's he's living a lifestyle.
Hey, man, you know what? If you're that dedicated to the shtick, go for it, right? Like that is the thing about wrestling that is missing today, is the idea of kayfabe.
Right.
It is missing.
It's all, everything's out there.
Yeah. And what kayfabe we get is a lot now mixed into real life situations.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so MJF comes out and says he looked into Jarrett's final contract. We find out it's only a year, which again, can we slow down on these retirement angles, please, AEW? WWE is doing its first one. You've done 3 in 4 years. People retire every day. It's no big deal. Just give Jarrett a gold watch and throw him into the tar pit, all right? We'll all be better for it. But yeah, I hate that I'm about to say this. I've never been a Jarrett fan. I'm kind of interested to see where this goes with Jarrett and MJF. In all honesty, your thoughts?
Well, they're doing a Jeff Jarrett. They're doing a Jeff Jarrett retirement angle, and wasn't there someone else?
Daniel Bryanson's retirement from full-time wrestling. Like, he's not full-blown retired,
Daniel
but
Bryanson.
Yeah. But part of me, my brain can never wants to say one or the other, and I try to correct myself, and that's what happens. Bryan Danielson, yeah, he's essentially retired from being full-time, and he kind of played up his own last run. You know, yeah, people retire every day. We don't need a year up build up for it, especially for Jeff Jarrett. I'll take Cena over Jarrett, and I was never a fan of either of them.
I agree. Same.
You know, like, I have no problem with them doing the angle. It's overplaying the angle.
I'll take Cena over Jarrett as a performer, but I feel like Jarrett's done a lot more backstage. Like,
well, Jarrett's knowledge Jarrett dove into help build TNA,
and he was like
initially.
what, 3rd generation?
Yes, yeah, he grew up 3 generations deep in the business. Like, when his great grandfather was in the business, I want to say it was still more of a carnival act type thing. You know, it wasn't all that. It wasn't getting pushed into the spotlight yet. But yeah, I am interested to see where this feud goes.
Oh God, yeah.
I've just never been able to get behind anything Jeff Jarrett. Like, MJF could be a saving grace to getting me to watch his segments and pay attention to him. But hey, I do give respect for what him and his family have done for the business. Like, they helped develop a lot of the Memphis wrestling territory. They helped build up a lot of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
You know, Jarrett did help with giving us TNA, which gave us a lot of
Right.
future stars and Hall of Famers in the business. I take nothing away from that, but him as a wrestler and a character on screen, I've never been a fan of.
Same.
That's the same thing you would have caught me saying about John Cena 10 years ago. Great person outside of the ring. Like, I don't mind watching his matches. I'm just not a fan of the Hulk Hogan conquer style of character where they always conquer the bad guy.
And not just that, he was a backstage politicker. If he didn't want someone going over on him, he would say, "You're not going over on me."
Oh, TNA, yes, Cuba. TNA is doing absolutely amazing right now. I love everything they're doing over there. And all I know is they better put that title on Joe Hendry at Genesis, because it's time. They've screwed him three times in a row now out of that championship. How many more bad finishes can you book in somebody before they just lose their momentum naturally because you didn't capitalize on it when it mattered most? Like,
Right.
I see, just like an idea, you know, like a lot of people picking like their overall wrestling superstar of the year, right? Everybody picks Cody Rhodes because he finished his story. How about Joe Hendry, who from the year beginning to year end had a rocket strapped to him and was the most overact in wrestling, in my opinion. As an act, more over than Will Ospreay, who I think is the best wrestler in the world right now. 1A to Zack Sabre Jr. What? Yeah, that was. I popped when she returned to TNA. When she returned at the, what was it, Sacrifice, the last pay-per-view, I believe.
All right.
Or Hard to Kill.
Right.
Hard to Kill. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Drew
McIntyre. Yeah,
well,
but if I'm looking at it as a grand scale, Joe Hendry went from super over mid card to super over main event status almost. Like instantly between he started appearing everywhere because he got so popular. Like his appearance on NXT was the most WWE watched moment of all 2024. More than Cody Rhodes winning the title.
Who do you think is more over? Joe Hendry or Orange Cassidy?
Right now, Joe Hendry. And I think Orange Cassidy. Okay. I think Orange Cassidy's over as well, but his character is going through a bit more of a dynamic change to last year. So he's not.
Yeah, true.
He's
that
not
was kind of a bad example.
No. That's actually really good. It would also be like who's more over would be Joe Hendry or Danhausen. Two very extremely polar opposites in characters, but both extremely over with the crowd. Just like the idea of CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. The crowd is so far on that bandwagon with both those guys. It's almost you get let's go Roman, let's go Punk chants going. Nobody chanting that the other sucks. You know, you just have 13,000 people in an arena just going bonkers, or WrestleMania talking about 60, 70,000. But yeah, you know, like, there's just something to say. I mean, I think Will Ospreay is absolutely amazing. I think that also he's kind of cooled off a little bit because he's been putting guys over. So it doesn't help either, which is why I say Will 1 and Zack Sabre Jr. are 1-1A at the moment. Oh, I completely agree with that statement as well. Characters and storylines great, but being able to blur the lines is great. It's just with anything else, you can't continuously blur the lines, or else then that becomes kayfabe and it loses its luster. You know, there's something to it, like the CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud of the year, in my opinion, and that gave me Bret Hart Shawn Michaels vibes. Because with Bret Hart, the crowd always cheered for the other person when he turned heel, even when Bret was right. Kind of the same thing with the whole KO thing. People will say Kevin Owens is right. But, and I say, I agree, but now he's gone about everything in the wrong way. There's just a lot to the plays into it, and today's fans aren't stupid. Triple H acknowledged that during the Raw thing when he's like, he was asked, I forget by who, but the question about fans using like industry terms, heel, face, stuff like that, kayfabe, and he's like, the fans aren't stupid. They know more today than they do then, and I'm not going to insult our fans' intelligence. You know,
oh, nice.
It's great to hear that come from somebody who is literally booking this stuff and understands that. Most fans today understand that, you know, like it's like using the expression, oh, that person turned heel. It's not just a wrestling term anymore. And not that it ever was just wrestling.
Right.
Wrestling played at the forefront. You know, like I watch movies and TV shows where somebody does something, goes from good to the bad side or whatever. Oh, they turned heel. Oh, they turned face. You know, it's become basic terminology. You know, people understand what.
Yeah, it's gotten out of the lexicon.
Now. You know, even though wrestling has always needed a bit of suspension of belief, right? Because certain things you just have to buy into, right? You have to suspend your belief like you're watching a movie or a TV show. You know, the Avengers aren't real, you know, but it's still entertainment. Let's see here. We had a couple nice, we had a nice Adam Copeland promo. You know, talking Cope, Edge, Corner.
Oh.
Whatever you want to call them. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like Dynamite wasn't really anything special this week. I thought Will Ospreay, Buddy Matthews put on a great match. Even Bobby Lashley and Mark Briscoe put on a pretty decent match.
Yeah, that was well. I love seeing Briscoe in the match in the ring whenever you know. But no, that was a good one, and as it should have ended, Briscoe took the loss because Lashley's just dominant.
Yeah, you expect that in that situation. We had. So they're doing the first ever this week women's casino battle royal, and they had a triple threat match to determine the number one spot in that. Which, by the way, these gauntlet battle royal style matches is definitely something to look forward to. Like they're fun matches because there is no real end to people coming out. It's whoever scores the first pinfall. It would be like having a 30-man Royal Rumble and somebody scores a pinfall by the time the fourth person comes in and the match is over.
Yeah, it's not like you know, War Games match where the bell rings once all the entrants have entered.
Yeah, and we have Chris Statlander in that triple threat match defeat Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale to get the number one spot in it, and she pinned Toni Storm. So Toni Storm has now taken her first loss since returning with this whole I have amnesia character, which I'm still convinced is timeless Toni Storm playing Toni Storm. Just that I will continue to will that into the universe.
Yeah, man. Well, tough loss for the rookie. You know, she's going to have to make up some ground after that one.
Well, with the winner of the Casino Gauntlet goes on to Australia for their show down there, the one they usually do in New York. Where they play tennis and stuff. The show they usually do there is going to be in Australia this year, and I think Toni Storm wins the women's gauntlet. You had her take the pinfall. So that first pinfall
was it Wembley that you were talking about?
No, not Wembley. Here,
Wimbledon.
Wherever they play that at, yeah. Well, because that show's now in Australia this year, and the winner of that gets their title shot. Then, why shouldn't it be Toni Storm? That's where she's from. it would make sense. Mariah May won the title where in the UK at All In, so it kind of makes sense for that rematch to happen on the other's home turf. Yeah, I was talking about the previous shows for, you know what? Now that I sound stupid.
Yeah, I'm confused.
That's nothing new. Grand Slam. It's Grand Slam.
Grand Slam.
There we go. But yeah, I can definitely see Toni Storm winning that. You know, like this character is only going to go so far before she gets her memory back or becomes timeless again. So let's kick this. It's about time we kick this into gear now. And Toni Storm's been one of the few bright lights in AEW the last 2 years. I mean, it's not exactly a brain freeze. There's other reasons why I don't remember certain things. But yeah, you know, I definitely think that it would be good. And those three women did put on a great match in that triple threat. I was very happy to see it. Let's see. Yeah, and then on Collision, we got the Adam Page, Christopher Daniels setup, which will be on Collision this upcoming week, and it will be a Texas death match. You're not the first person to tell me that there, Cuba. But yeah, I even thought this week on Collision, Mariah May and Harley Cameron put on a pretty entertaining match. Harley Cameron's coming afar. She's covered a lot of distance and developing in a short time. Even now to the point where she's not even coming out to the Paige's song, Soraya's song anymore. She's coming out to her own theme song. Also on Collision, Daniel Garcia and Shibata had a banger of a match for the TNT Championship with Daniel Garcia retaining. Daniel Garcia, so entertaining. And there's a lot of good things coming for him down the road. I wish AEW would bring back Ricky Starks. Like, it's completely ridiculous that he's under contract with them. And most of their other guys can go appear in the indies, but he's not appearing anywheres. Like, he was supposed to be at the Hammerstein show for GCW. Like, they announced him at the Mall of America show and then had to pull the booking.
They've been pulling a lot of people, though, from GCW shows.
Cuba, to answer that question, is just to promote the network that they are on. What I would love to see is that the TNT title and the TBS title for the women only gets defended on TV when they're on those stations. Because now you only have one show on each station a week. You don't have Rampage no more. So every week, every other week, just like a TV championship like in WCW, it was defended weekly or bi-weekly. Just like the Cruiserweight title. Like, I've watched 3 Nitros in the past week and a half, and all of them have had Cruiserweight title matches. Or the Thunder had a Cruiserweight title match. Like, those are titles that should be defended more regularly, which is something WWE's gotten better with their mid-card titles. Is that they are defended.
And I always love a good, like, open challenge championship. Like, like the Cena thing where he came out and it was someone else every week.
Yeah, or when you have,
that's always been a great gimmick to me.
Yeah, it creates opportunities to feature talent, and if you're not going to pull the title off of them anyway, you know, you're giving somebody a chance to shine against a bigger name. But I've always been a mark for a television championship. You know, like, because they're always fun matches. Kind of wish they would bring the Speed Championship up to the main rock, bring it on TV occasionally, Because I think if more people saw the matches on Raw or SmackDown occasionally happen, it would get people more interest into going on to X or wherever it is to watch it. You know, because I watched it in the beginning, 3-minute matches, like just something real quick, and they're very fast moving. Like they're competitive matches. You know, and those type of titles just make for a fun experience because at that point, the lineage of the title, if you know it's going to change hands a lot, not like a hardcore title or a 24/7 title, you know, but where you can build a division of these lower and mid-card guys who are good enough and you give them time to be featured to where you start looking at them like, wow, he held that title 3 times before stepping up to the Intercontinental title, you know, or that division's so tough that we see the title hotshot, like the Cruiserweight division in WCW. You could see that title hot shot at any time, and nobody was complaining about, oh, those title reigns aren't long enough. No, that division was just that deep to have so many good guys like a Rey Mysterio, a Hoovy, an Eddie, a Chris Jericho, a La Parka.
Psychosis.
Cuba. I mean, I see the argument of there being too many titles, but in the long run,
yeah.
I see the argument, and if I was on the other side saying it, I would be there. But the way I look at it now, especially in WWE right now, the women in WWE deserve those mid-card championships.
I'm fine with the undercards and the women's
because because there's not enough time for everybody, and WWE now is kind of having storylines across the board. So we have these mid-card titles for the women that more or less will probably be defended on TV. You know, maybe they'll get a pay-per-view match occasionally, but now it just gives a chance for other talent to shine on TV, and then you save your bigger titles defenses for when they matter more. You know, like your main titles. Like there was a time in wrestling where, like Bruno Sammartino, he wasn't going out there every month defending that championship. You know, like those big matches were happening every 3 months. Maybe there'd be a run like in the summer where you have a bunch of big shows. So yeah, he's being safe for all those shows to. You know, like there's logic behind everything. Like the only argument, like that's like with Roman's reign. Everybody's argument, there was not enough title defenses to equal the length of how long he held the championship. You know, and also they all always had interference. Like there's arguments to be made. And again, I turn around. A heel will do anything to win. He has a stable behind him. We saw Triple H do it. We've seen Hogan do it with the NWO. It's nothing new. It's what the bad guys do. That's being a heel 101 right there. You know, or Mox in AEW right now. It's just, that's what it is. Even Chris Jericho with the Learning Tree.
Right.
Or any stable that Chris Jericho has had in the last 5 years. No, I also do agree with that, Cuba. You don't need a title to tell a story. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it builds interest so that you don't have to have a WWE women's title match. You could save that for a PLE and be like, hey, look, we have the women's United States title. You're giving some of these lower mid-card women who don't get a chance to be on TV and have moments or have a storyline to now have a storyline. As I've said it for the past month on here, if it's one thing I credit WWE with, is that they have TV storylines and then storylines that lead to PLE. Like the Wyatt Six, right? They haven't been on PLE, but their story has been on Raw and has been consistent. And if they do, we know it'll be some type of big match, right? So it kind of builds up to it if they get to that point. You know, and Roma vs. Solo kind of had a title, if you ask me. It was just the title of Tribal Chief instead of a championship. And that's more of a family thing. And that was 3 years of storytelling to get there. You know, a lot has happened with that bloodline story, but I think it's a good thing for the women to have these mid-card titles, especially with how stacked that women's division is now.
Oh yeah.
And if anybody's going to do it right, it's definitely going to be the WWE. I would also say TNA would give it justice as well, because they give a lot of justice to their mid-card championships, even their women's tag title.
Yeah, Thrash. It's not available in Jersey yet, to my knowledge. It's with the Bud House, but yeah, can't get it yet.
But they
yeah,
just
we'll
have
probably carry it.
But yeah, they just have stories going across the board right now, you know, and not every story needs to be on a PLE, you know, because your PLE should be held for your top 4 or 5 storylines you have going into that, right? Because that's what WWE does. 4 or 5 matches per PLE. WrestleMania is more like 6 or 7 for each night. But when you save those storylines to build them up to that point, it means more. Like if you go back and watch the Attitude Era, some of it that might have been good, some of it might have been cringe, whatever, but almost every single wrestler on that card or on that roster had some type of story going on weekly. And, you know, because if a character doesn't have a story going on, why do you invest into that wrestler? That you're just parading them out there. Like, yeah, I'm a fan of this guy, but I'd like to see more. You know, I'd like to see him in something. Even NXT. Everybody in NXT has something going on, even if it's every woman coming out for a shot at the North American Women's Championship. They're featuring these talents and they're rotating them in and out. And they're doing a good job of it.
Yeah, I mean, the WWE's problem, though, I mean, creating more titles isn't going to create more stories. Creating more stories is going to create more stories.
Yeah. But now it's just having like Chelsea Green, right? Because of how jacked the division is at the top, somebody who deserves to be in that picture now has a championship. That's all I'm saying. Like, just like the Intercontinental title and the United States title should be stepping grounds to those top titles, you now have the same thing with the women, to where now, hey, you can get some momentum behind some of them. You know, I'm not saying you use the championships to create stories, because championships are used for 2 things. Either for a talent to get it over and then drop it to somebody to put them over with the championship, or the championship's meant to put them over and take them to the next level. Right. And the women now have that opportunity, like a Shawn Michaels did back in the day, like a Bret Hart had back in the day. You know, and all these other great wrestlers who were the Intercontinental or United States champion in WCW. You know, it's just a chance to see if they have what it takes, especially if they're going to do it in NXT a year prior with the North American Championship. If you're going to do it there, you do it on the main roster. I just feel like it makes sense. And with the division across the board for WWE, with how deep it is, you also create competition. And it's not like there's one show or 2 titles or one title and 2 shows, because that was a concern we had. Was like, is the women's United States title just going to jump from both shows? Or are we going to see maybe a women's Intercontinental title, which they did introduce? We have the finals this week coming up. And, you know, hey, it's going to create opportunity just having it there. If it doesn't work out, what's the worst that happens? The titles just become maybe one championship and then goes between both shows at some point. But, you know, right now, I like the idea of it, and I hope they stick with it. Because there's plenty of talent that will deserve to have those championships and have those moments. Especially if I'm all for also them being treated like TV championships.
Well, that's essentially what they are.
I mean, yeah.
They're the women's undercard championships.
Cuba, I definitely agree with you on that as well, which is something even today, if you think about it. Hey, fans are debating on buying a ticket to a show. oh, hey, look, there's 3 championship matches. None of them are necessarily the top titles, but it's all the mid titles. And mid-card titles will help build stars or help expose to what they need to work on. It works both ways, and I just hope it's done properly. Let's see. We've talked a little bit of SmackDown already with the whole Cody Rhodes thing, which, boy. And speaking of Chelsea Green, she did retain her championship against Michin this week, which we speculated a couple weeks ago that this rematch would eventually happen. And that Chelsea would retain, because typically you have a tournament and those two usually run it back one more time. We had Nakamura retain due to DQ after Fatu and Tonga interfere in their match, which that was good. That was good just because of the idea that LA Knight threw Jacob Fatu out of the building. Let's see. We have Nia coming out during Tiffany's celebration to confront her. That was pretty good. Like, I'm looking forward to all that coming back around. But right now, we have Bayley as the number 1 contender, which the heel mark I know absolutely loves for a fact. He might be the biggest Bayley mark I know. Not that I know many full-blown Bayley marks, but if I did, he would probably be the top one. Cuba, I definitely agree with that. Cody does have his dad's mind for the bigger business as a whole. But yeah, so what's your thoughts on Bayley versus Tiff, which will be happening next week on SmackDown, apparently? They're wasting no time with this.
Is it for the title?
Yes. Bayley's the number 1 contender. It will be for the women's championship.
Obviously, I was at that wrestling show on Friday, so I didn't watch SmackDown. Wow. That is an interesting one. I don't think they would give the belt to Tiffy and pull it off her right away.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like that. I'll say no names, Zack Ryder.
Yeah, I mean, this is a different booking era.
I agree as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. I think there's going to be some type of interference or something during the match, Yeah. As I'm saying it, Cuba brings it up in the chat. I definitely do think we see some type of involvement, most likely from Nia and probably Candice LeRae,
Of course.
I'm definitely interested to see where it goes, though, because I'm guessing they're getting the title defense out of the way so that she's defended it, and then you could kind of put it off until after the Rumble. Since the Rumble's the February 1st, and you have her next title defense. And because WWE's they only play the 30-day thing when they need to. Steven, what's up? How you doing? Thank you for showing up for the show. You
just reminded me that the Rumble's February 1st. That means I can drink.
And there goes the neighborhood. BJ will be drinking again.
Uh-oh. I haven't spilled anything in a while.
Well, that's because it's non-alcoholic. It's not a waste.
Yeah, true.
Especially that one from your reaction to it. Oh, the last one I saw. Hey, you know what? If I'm going to put any 2 celebrities over that have appeared in wrestling in the last couple of years, in all honesty, it's Bad Bunny and Logan Paul. Not to say I am a fan of his, but you see Logan Paul has put in the work, and everybody that talks about him and the work he puts in really puts him over about that he actually trains. So you know what? Props him. If you're going to put in the work to be there, I have, whether I'm a fan or not, I'll respect you for it.
was
But
gonna
yeah,
say
I'm-
something, completely got distracted.
I think Bailey and Tiff should be a good match before there's outside interference in that match.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't see Bailey winning. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, agreed. I think she's going to go to Raw.
To Steven Chambers, don't know if PW Insider is accurate, but WWE's interested in Ric Flair. All right, is it for Ric Flair to be at just on the Rumble show or in the Rumbles?
I think
don't
I
see.
heard at.
Yeah, I don't see Ric Flair competing in the Rumble. Like, there is a rumor going around that he wants one more match, but that's just a different breed of wrestler and Ric Flair just can't let it go, and that's fine. It's Ric Flair. He'll die in a ring. We're all waiting for it.
Yeah.
It's just who's it going to be first, him or Darby Allin? Yeah. Oh, the Puerto Rican fans when what was it? Backlash 2 years ago when they did Backlash in Puerto Rico. That show was, oh man, them and France both such loud fans for places that don't typically get those biggest shows or shows at all for that matter. I absolutely love those crowds, that especially the France crowd when AJ Styles came out and they were doing that chant that just shook the arena. That energy is absolutely amazing. The closest I can say I ever got to that being at a show is both are in Philly, WrestleMania 15 with The Rock and Austin in the main event, or when Bray Wyatt returned at Extreme Rules. I was at that show. The pop and the energy and the anticipation of everything once that whole moment started was absolutely amazing. And it was an honor to be a part of that moment. Just to be there and see it live. Let's see. Yes, Dory Funk is still wrestling. Some of these guys just can't let it go. But hey, their name still draws somewhere. Let's see. Ric Flair's going to wrestle with a life support machine. Let it go, Rick. Please. Let's see. I did Cuba when I wrestled in Puerto Rico. A guy tried to ruin the match and stab me, but thankfully complete. Whew, man, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Absolutely bonkers. But yeah,
it wasn't in the. Go.
We definitely see we got Solo returning this upcoming week. That should be interesting. I'm really anxious to see where everything goes with that part of the Bloodline story now, because now the Bloodline's kind of branching off into different stories, which is very interesting. It's the first time we're really seeing that. All these different moving pieces now are going to have their own way to go. And my question is, do they all eventually acknowledge Roman? Because what Solo said, it doesn't matter what happens. He who holds the Ulafala, we acknowledge. And that includes me and you guys. And I've said it from the beginning.
Right.
That conversation has to be had now. And I think that Solo will acknowledge Roman and probably have them turn their backs on him. I just hope it's a slower played out story. Steven Chambers. Yeah. We've been saying that for the last couple of weeks because we have people here in chat asking, hey, who do you think is going to win the Rumble? It's so many big names in this year. Like, I could see Roman winning it. I could see Punk winning it. I could see Seth winning it.
I could see Trick winning it.
Yeah. I always like to pick an NXT guy as a shocker because I think it would be a hell of a moment to have a guy come from NXT and win the Rumble.
But Charlotte's definitely winning the women's.
No. It's going to be Becky.
One or the other.
No, what will happen is
KO.
KO's going to win the women's Rumble. That would be interesting. KO lost to Cody. Now he has to go chase Tiffy in the women's championship on SmackDown.
Kelly Owens.
Is he going to go full Santina on us?
Yeah, still have the beard, but like put on a wig.
I don't see KO winning the Rumble. I don't think we might see KO in the Rumble because he's in a ladder. If he loses the ladder match to Cody, would I want to see him in the Rumble? Yes. But you would understand why he wouldn't be, depending on how brutal that match becomes, right? My favorite for the women, I don't think there's a favorite in either direction right now, and that's crazy to think we're 3 weeks out from the Rumble. And if it's for the men right now, I think the favorite's CM Punk from Raw and Roman from SmackDown. I would be surprised to see them as the final two.
What if Joe Hendry's in it?
How much I believe in Joe Hendry. All right, my fandom can only go so far suspending belief, but it would be awesome to see Joe Hendry win the TNA championship and appear in the Rumble as the TNA champion, like Jordan Grace did with the Women's Championship, twice in a row, as a matter of fact. So,
oh yeah, there's going to be some surprises and.
Now, see, that would be a moment, even if AJ Lee doesn't have the itch to return full time or have an actual match. We've seen people like Michelle McCool have a quick moment in the Rumble, or when Chelsea Green return. Yeah, just to have quick moments in and out. I don't think Roman wins the Rumble. I think they're going to go somewhere other way with him. And it might be like a Brock Lesnar situation. The person who eliminates Roman could most likely be his opponent going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see Cena winning the Rumble and possibly challenging, say, Cody. So I think there's something there for that, even if they are both babyface. It would be booked like a moment of two eras colliding with each other, like Rock Hogan.
Take out Jay, put in Punk, and that's my final four.
I say take out KO and put in Rollins.
Ooh.
Because KO coming out of a ladder match isn't going to make it to the final four unless he's one of the last four to come out.
Right.
If KO were to draw early to mid number, or I think I've said it on the show before. I think there's something with Orton Cody there that they could definitely play out. Ever since Cody won the title, we've always seen Orton giving it the side eye.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I think it still would be, I don't think a Cody heel turn's happening anytime soon. I think we're just getting the seeds planned for it. I think because initially, like when Rock Hogan happened, we knew who was the face, who was the heel. And nobody could expect that Toronto crowd to do what they did and cheer both men, which Chef, our personal referee, who has been off refereeing other things in life, because he books himself for everything for a referee, man. He's just out there getting it done, He was actually at that WrestleMania. And the way that crowd goes, sometimes it is what it is. And that's a moment, because if you watch, and a lot of people have said this, if you watch the Rock Hogan match on mute, it's garbage. The crowd made that match. But even then, by the end of the match, Hogan, it was like Rocky IV, when Rocky turns the Russians against Drago. It's insane to think like that. But doing maybe that happens with Cena Cody, right? The crowd wants Cena to get that moment and Cody wins. And that really begins the process where he's like, y'all didn't love me. You just loved the story of it. The first, it starts planting them seeds, which I think him doing this whole thing feud with Owens has kind of been starting to plant the seeds of that. But I think Cody Rhodes right now is just still too hot to turn heel. Like he's still putting on solid matches. It's been storytelling that's taken the dip, not his matches.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it doesn't, and
face,
even in the conversation, it doesn't help after WrestleMania. We have that moment with him and The Rock, and now we know that we're just playing the waiting game to get back to that. So how do we keep people semi-interested in what's going on with Cody until we can get him back in front of The Rock and in the ring? And then the first chance we got, he went nice guy Rock. There's just a lot to say to more of they gave us too much too soon with so little. And it just stuck so much that the fans didn't forget. We want to know what The Rock handed Cody. We want to know where this goes from here. Like, I thought potentially this past SummerSlam was going to have Rock and Cody. Instead of doing it. Yeah, instead of doing it at WrestleMania, knock it out at SummerSlam so you can move on to Rock Roman at this year's Mania. It would have made perfect sense. Right. It would have been a high-profile match. I like that Final Four. I like it.
No Bailey?
Yes. The Rock is definitely a busy guy. But I was just looking at, if I was planning it out, I would have tried to get him for that SummerSlam to get that out of the way. Because the last time they were in a ring together, our current undisputed WWE champion was pinned in the main event of night one of WrestleMania by The Rock. And as a previous conversation earlier in this broadcast, that I said, when the champion gets pinned, even though Cody wasn't champion, he is champion. He won the title the next night. The Rock hasn't wrestled since then. You could say The Rock can pull the legend card, right? And the TKO board holder card. I pinned you. I'm giving myself a title shot. That's all the fans need to just let us get the match and work our way back around to it. I mean, unless the unthinkable happens, let's say that Cody drops the title at Elimination Chamber.
I don't know.
Because I don't think Cody drops it at the
Rumble. Heel mark.
I mean, I definitely...
Yeah, Asuka's a good shout.
I was there in Philly when she won the first Women's Royal Rumble. That was a hell of a moment to be present for.
That she didn't know was for the title, right?
No, that was Money in the Bank. COVID Money in the Bank.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, what am I thinking? Royal Rumble.
Yeah, like 2017 Royal Rumble, the first Women's Rumble match. That was the year also Nakamura won the Rumble, and we had the New Japan domination of the Rumble, which were both great moments. But yeah, I definitely don't see KO winning the title. And I think it would be more of a shocking moment for Cody to probably lose it in the Chamber than at the Rumble. Because here comes the problem. If you take that title off him before the men's Rumble match, let's just say that's how the booking goes, right? We get the women's match first. We get a couple other matches in the men's main event. And Cody drops that title. What's the chances Cody wins the Rumble? The fans are not... If Cody were to drop the title, he could enter the Rumble. Let's just say take Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he's going to hold the title till Mania. He's definitely holding the title till Mania.
I mean, I agree. But if I was going to pull that bait and switch, I'm doing it in the Chamber. Because that would say that Cody almost made it to the next WrestleMania and he pushed himself too far. He took on this match he shouldn't have, and they've started teasing it on TV with people approaching him like, what are you doing? Like, we get what you're doing and you're carrying this company, but you're doing too much. Like you're putting yourself in situations that at this time of year, you want to make it to WrestleMania. You want to be in that main event. And right now, he has the golden ticket to that main event of night 2.
Oh, yeah.
So there's definitely something there for it. And that's even with how SmackDown went off the air. We get Fatu and Tonga defeat the team of him and Jimmy Uso because of the fact that KO came out and he just V-lined and left Jimmy there to take a beating. With SmackDown going off the air with them both going through the table in the production area.
Oh, yeah. If we see Big E again, it'll be the biggest pop you ever heard.
Big E still has not been cleared to return to the ring. I would love to see Big E back. I would love it, and it would be the biggest pop of the night, probably. What I wouldn't mind, though, is if one of the members of the New Day are still in the match, or both, and then his music just hits as a distraction for them to get eliminated. I am all for that. Heel Mark, I don't think number 30 is not the most promising number in the Royal Rumble. The most winningest number, I believe, is 27.
27.
But 30 could be up there now. I do believe, like, there's been a couple years now in recent history where number 30's come out and had a really good showing. But I think Punk's favor is a main event match at WrestleMania. Because if anybody can politic to get him in that spot, it's Paul Heyman. And most likely, as it was brought up in chat earlier, could be against Roman. Because I'm still surprised that we didn't get the Paul Heyman turn. Because Paul Heyman's never been a manager of baby faces. Yeah, but Corey Graves might not have a clear cut to want to return to the ring. He's killing it on commentary. He doesn't need to return to the ring.
No.
But you know what? I'm going to say no. I think it'll be more like in the first 24 hours plus, or the live plus first 24. They might get to 3.2.
Yeah, I say they do like half.
Yeah, like easily. And this is another reason. Netflix is more, just in general, to move to streaming. Something like Netflix is available in more households nowadays than cable TV. And you can go back and watch it anytime. Yeah, Cuba, I agree. I think Corey's very happy with where he's at. You know, like his injury was serious. You know, him and Carmella have a kid now. You know, they're right where they want to be at, you know, and he's happy. I think now he's going to be on NXT. So, you know, maybe he starts help training the next level up of people to either in ring or on commentary as well. Who do you think wins the women's Intercontinental title this week? Lyra or Dakota?
I think they'll give it to Lyra. Same situation as Chelsea. She needs something to elevate her.
I do agree with that. And at the same time, it's like the conversation we had before, right? Both of these women. Like, Dakota's had more to do, but it's still like, what have they done? And that's my problem. And hopefully this is a moment for both of them.
Now, there's a good shout.
McAfee versus Corey Graves. You know what? I'm all
with
for
Michael
it.
Cole as special guest referee.
Wade Barrett as the special ringside enforcer. You know, we're just going to and Joe Tessitore's on the call by himself. We're just going to let him Joey Styles it for a match.
No, that's when we bring back the King.
No. Even better, we bring up Booker T and Vic Joseph to join Joe Tessitore. and we get a 3-man announced team for the match. Well, wow. Actually,
There you go.
speaking of a little outside the norm wrestling talk here, Booker T's promotion last night. Booker T defeated Zilla Fatu.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, they had a big match. There was a promo lead up to it where it got kind of heated between them, where Booker T brought up Umaga to Zilla. I mean, I only got to see clips of it. It seemed like there was some interference to a point in the match and stuff like that, but I'm hoping that stuff like this gets Zilla on the WWE radar, especially working with Booker T's promotion, because his promotion is part of the WWE ID program. And if they're going to sign somebody like Jacob Fatu with his past, Zilla deserves an opportunity as well. You see, when we talked about this last week of predicting the matches, or 2 weeks ago, talking about what the finals could possibly be and stuff like that, I was all for a Dakota Kai versus Io Sky match, because it would be interesting to see, because they're both face right now and they're both in this a team. And I think it's always interesting when we get that type of dynamic with two single competitors who are also a tag team. You know, like, it would have been a very interesting dynamic, and I thought they were going to go that route when Dakota Kai won. Because you would figure you would put the former WWE Women's Champion in this match. The same thing with Bayley, right? But they kind of mirrored the tournaments in that route, that your former top champion got knocked out by who's probably going to be Lyra as the eventual champion. But yeah, because Dakota Kai, a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But I think Dakota Kai works hard, and I think she would deserve that title just as much as Lyra. And I think and we're not looking at almost the same situation with Chelsea Green, where Chelsea Green was the most over person probably in that tournament going into it. You know, maybe outside of a Bayley. Just because of Bayley's history and long-term success within the company. This one
kind of missed when.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I kind of missed like the moment when people stopped booing Chelsea and started cheering for her, because her gimmick didn't change at all.
No, she's been getting cheered since her return, because I guess we saw a lot of the work she did with GCW with her husband, boyfriend, Matt Cardona, you know. Like, she's always been kind of over wherever she's at. It's just now when she came back with this Karen-style role, it just caught fire. It was extremely entertaining. You know, and it's the idea.
I don't remember, like, the shift.
There was never really a shift. I mean, we also live in a world today where a heel is more defined by their actions than the crowd reaction. The hottest heel that's been in WWE recently is Dirty Dom. And now the New Day has been getting that same heat. Like, you have to do something really bad to get booed. Even somebody like MJF in AEW. Like, when the fans find something, even though they're supposed to know, us as fans know we should boo MJF, that we should boo Dirty Dom, that we should boo somebody like the New Day. But once they start doing that work and we start seeing it, and we're like, wow, this is actually really good. Like MJF, like, you're just that damn good at what you do. I can't help but cheer for you because I'm a fan of the work that you're doing as the character. And I absolutely love those situations. Even with us, as an example, going to SPO shows. Like, we've become fans of so many of the guys and seen them so many times now that it's hard to want to boo them, because we're just like, they're really good.
Yeah.
And they're good at what they do.
No, but we boo them because of the choices that their character makes. and the way
Yeah.
their character presents itself.
And we even see
We're
that with
friends
some
with the people.
I mean, we even see it with some people, right? They'll cheer them, but when they do an action that's a heel action or something like that, the fans do boo them, depending on who it's against.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, so there's something to be said about any way that it can all turn. It's just it's fun, and now a lot more fans, since they know more about the business as a whole. It's not as the curtain's still only open to a point, but it's open enough for a new age of fan because the fans are smarter now.
Yeah.
That
having
Gomez
said
Adams
that-
chicken tender eating son of a gun. Yes, that is comment of the night right there.
I just actually
And for
watched an interview with him
and for
about how he
comment of the
legit,
night,
like,
you get the Trent Acid Mark picture instead of my face for the next several moments. Please enjoy.
was watching an interview with him. I think it was just posted today about his love for chicken tendies and like
The
I was
CVV
like, so how many
interview.
times a week? Yeah. It's cracking me up. He's like, how many times a week do you eat chicken tendies? I don't know, 5. He's like, do you eat them for breakfast? It depends on where I am and what I'm doing, but yeah, sure. I'll eat them for every meal.
You know what? I saw a Rey Mysterio interview, and I think it was with CVV. Might have been somebody else. I don't remember. But it was talking about if Eddie was still alive. And to bring something back from 20 years ago and rehash the ladder match storyline. Because, God, has Dom really leaned into that more? Buying into the idea that, if the fans think he's my dad, I'm going to grow the mullet out. I'm going to grow the mustache out. I'm going to start doing the Eddie mannerism.
Where's Liv? Where's Liv?
Like, it's just something that the greatest part is he kind of looks like Eddie Guerrero like that.
Yeah, no, this is dad, so I mean, makes sense.
It's just something, and I wish Eddie was still alive today just for us to get that story, because it's not often in wrestling you get something like that could circle back around like that.
Right. Yeah, they
Any-
need to do that ladder match ending botch. They need to like redo that with Dom.
They're definitely having him follow Eddie, but in his own trajectory. He's definitely putting his own twist to things, which is absolutely great. But yeah, anything you're looking forward to in wrestling this week? We do have Tiffany Stratton defending against Bayley on SmackDown. Motor City Machine Guns versus Los Garza. We have Solo's return. We have the Women's Intercontinental title match. We have Hobbs versus Mox this upcoming week.
That should be a good match.
Yeah, there's definitely
all of
a
the
lot of stuff. I'm looking forward definitely to see where Seth Rollins goes from here if he appears this week.
I have a feeling they might let him. Oh, excuse me. They might let him sit back for a week and collect his thoughts.
Sell some of the brutality of that match.
Exactly.
So are we kind of all in agreement here that it's going to be Gable versus Penta this week? Finally.
Yeah. It ain't going to be Dragon Lee.
It's not going to be some. So how long till Penta joins the LWO?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Or does he join with Santos Escobar and
You know what? I wish his brother was coming with them, so I would love to see the Lucha Bros in WWE.
oh god, yeah.
Just the
I'll be here
idea.
eventually.
Just the idea that we could, if it's R-Truth dressed as a luchador, oh God, will I love that. That is an absolutely amazing idea, and damn it, I want it to be R-Truth dressed in a Penta mask now. That's what I want. Thank you. That's all I'm going to think about for the next 24 hours.
I could see like R-Truth coming down to the ring in a luchador mask and like doing his whole like "what's up" thing, and then Penta just attacking him from the crowd.
Yeah, this week I'm definitely looking forward to Hobbs and Mox. I think they're going to put on a good match.
It's going to be a good match.
It's a shame that I do expect Mox to win, but hey, it's a good stepping stone for Hobbs. I hope AEW figures out how to book its big guys, because Wardlow's just disappeared off the map and they had something there and they completely derailed it. More than once. Like, you had him with Goldberg heat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's my main thing I'm looking forward to this week. As I said, I'm looking forward to the Women's Intercontinental Finals. I think I've come around. I do see Lyra winning it. It's just, again, what have they done with her recently to make me invest in it? But hopefully this is a way to get fans invested into her.
That's it. They're like doing this to get fans invested.
Yes. Also,
like, I agree. There should have been some kind of groundwork.
I also do agree with
Eagles,
Steven. Omega versus Brian Cage, Kenny Omega's return match.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
We got some of the big guys in big match situations. That should be interesting, though, because I think that has some moving parts to it. And we also eventually see the team up that nobody expected to ever see of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega in the future. We've definitely started seeing AEW starting to unite against the Death Riders. Christian versus Hook. Yes. I am a huge fan of Hook. I really am. I'm also a huge fan of this run Christian's been on since he's been in AEW and become a heel. I think it's the best run he's had his entire career. And I look forward to him. And we could possibly see him also cash in after the Mox and Hobbs match. What are you guys looking forward to out there in Chatland? Yeah, I'm interested in that match, but I'm not as interested. Like the Hurt Syndicate, I expect to win that match. 100%, because it looks like they're going to pursue the tag titles right now.
Yeah, that looks like a really good match.
I was surprised to see that MVP will be in the match unless we get a new member added, and he's just up there right now to be a throw off for it. But yes,
well, he did say like a year ago he's not retired.
No, but just the idea that we don't see him because compete as much. That's all. So when you do see him compete, it is special. Oh, the women's gauntlet. I think Toni Storm wins it and goes on to face Mariah May at Grand Slam in her home country.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Just like I said earlier, Mariah May won it in the UK in her home country, so let's run it back in Australia.
You painted a pretty picture there. I think I can see that happening.
But yeah, if that's all we got for this week, we will have upcoming announcement probably next week on some things going on coming to the channel, things we will be doing possibly on another channel. So stay tuned for that. Lucha.
Yeah, Kalisto. Maybe that's who. Okay.
Hey, could it be the original Sin Cara?
Oh, God. Mystico?
Now we're just throwing luchadors out there. It's Max Mini. Let's be honest.
Lucha Laura.
Now, see, Steven, I've been saying this from the beginning. I am convinced that Toni Storm, that this whole character is timeless Toni Storm playing the role of rocker Toni Storm. Which is why, and that right there explains why she has amnesia, because this version of the character never was a 3-time women's world champion. She just hit the reset button. But everything Toni Storm's done the last year, I absolutely love. Like, she went from being somebody I enjoyed watching in the ring but wasn't interesting character-wise to me, to somebody who now, not only am I a fan of in the ring, but now you've become an interesting character to me. Which, that props to her, because the Timeless gimmick was absolutely amazing. Ryan. Well, I hope when you go back to listen
what's up,
that
Milky?
you do enjoy the show. I'm glad you got here for. We will stay live, I guess, for the next 10 minutes. We'll hit that 8:00 hour. I feel like
Sure.
that eventually at some point we're going to be able to break this down just into a 3-hour radio show. We're becoming our own version of Busted Open. What can I tell you?
Hey, I'm fine with that.
There is so much good that is coming in wrestling right now. February 8th, we have some stuff coming up for that, for SPO. As we always promote on the show, if you live in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, Harris and Chester, SPO Wrestling, February 8th. We've had a couple announcements. One half of the SPO's tag team champions, JB Grayson, will be taking on calculated Kurt Robinson, which very interesting match considering there's some power there, some speed there, should be a very interesting matchup. We have a dumpster match on the show with Homeless Vaughn and why am I brain farting on this? But give me a moment because I have the match cards on my phone. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Kurt Robinson and Homeless Vaughn in the
I was going to say, that Kurt Robinson. That
we got Primal Fear, who did the intro that you saw today for the show.
Hold on. Let me hit that again. Hold on.
I'm about to say we'll play it on the way out. We'll hit it on the way out.
That's a good call. I'll set it up.
We have Pat Dynamite and Hank the Buffalo from Buffalo Wild Wings taking on Blackout members Ruckus and Robbie. That should be a fun match.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, February 6th is also a birthday of a member of our Danger Ginger crew here, Rob, who will be at the show with us.
Nice.
That's also his birthday. We have
I actually
go ahead.
I ran into Homeless Vaughn on Friday night at that show, and I asked him, I said, what's up with the dumpster match? And he was like, dumpster match? Yeah, man. It's hard trying to have a conversation.
Well, were they surprised that they dragged his new apartment for a match? Because we all know that he's going to be sleeping in the dumpster until it's time for his match. All right. If I've learned anything about Homeless Vaughn, that's exactly where that's going.
He'll be sleeping somewhere.
We have current TNA star and current SPO Women's Champion Tasha Steele defending her championship in an open challenge.
That should be interesting.
We also have the ton of stars appearing on the pre-show and the meet and greet, which Tasha will be a part of that. The Rep will be a part of that. We have Todd Rod, who's the rerun cosplayer, doing that. Santa Kringle will be a part of that. Even though it's not Christmas, Santa appears all times a year now, apparently. And then we have for the SPO championship, the current champion, the Pharaoh Face, defending against Bufa AO, which that's a match I'm looking forward to. I'm not just am I a fan of Bufa, but I'm a fan of the hard-hitting style that Face does.
You forgot a match.
Did I?
Rick effing Blade.
Yes. And a match that I am completely torn in my picks. That,
maybe
not. That is something that is currently in the works. Hopefully next week I'll have a confirmation on everything and I'll be able to make that announcement. But yes, we have Simon Gotch and Rick effing Blade taking on David McCall and Nate Wallace, the Rep. And boy, am I torn on who to pick for that match. Because I don't want Rick Blade calling me out like he called you out. All right.
I'm gonna have to put some serious thought into that one.
and I'm still, it's just like I'm dead down the middle in a gray area.
Wait till we see some promos or something.
Like, it's definitely one of the matches to where our fandom goes into everything else, and we're just like, we know what we should pick, but could we be wrong? Because we do preview
It's
and
hard
review
picking
shows
anyone
for
against
stuff.
the Rep.
Yeah, like, we'll have an appearance from the Patriot, who is the new president of SPO. Should be, he will also be doing the meet and greet. But in the end, SPO is always an amazing time. It's always hot crowds, fun matches. Yes, SPO is on YouTube. I can post the link here in the chat real quick for you. So everybody can go like, subscribe. They do have some of their shows, the recent shows up. Uneffing Necessary, which was a deathmatch show, is under Trip TV, which, by the way, is absolutely amazing. Please go check it out. These guys work really hard on this content. They do it themselves. And it is great. And that's coming from me. If it wasn't, I would tell you it wasn't.
Also, the Spokecast every Monday night on Johnny Cashmere's YouTube channel. Go ahead and check that out.
Which you could just find
It's
at
always a
Johnny.
good time.
Just look up Johnny Cashmere. You know, you'll go on the channel, see the older episodes and stuff like that. You could also add him on Instagram and Facebook. Spokecast will stream on all three. Which they have
And,
guests
the
on their
Spokecast-
announcements. You even get other wrestlers as guests on the show, and it's a really good show. I highly recommend checking it out. I'll even go get the.
I really
link
hope
for
that Simon
Johnny.
Gotch is going to be on again because his stories when he was on the last time were amazing.
Yeah, I can listen to Simon Gotch for an hour, tell stories on that show, and
Oh,
nobody else speak, and I would be perfectly content with that. To be perfectly honest. And then that's for Johnny Cashmere's channel. Yep. Okay. Yep. That is the handle. New back seats, which is true. But yeah, we are approaching the 3 hour. Who? Simon Gotch. I believe that's who he was responding about.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I talked to him at the last show at Harris. Great dude.
Yeah, I can't wait to because I didn't get the chance to talk to him at the last show. I'm looking forward to, pending everything going on, to have a moment with him and Rick Blade before their match.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get yelled at for our picks.
You got yelled at for your pick. And I have video
I
evidence.
wasn't wrong.
You weren't right, neither. Neither of us
I
were.
wasn't right.
Neither of us were right. Neither of us were wrong. Thanks, Rep. We really appreciate that
Yeah.
one.
But who of us would have thought, oh, the Rep is obviously going to run in on that one.
Yeah, there's actually a video of the end of that match that I posted today on my Instagram. If you guys want to go check that out at the Danger Ginger 1, which is right now pretty much the exclusive place to get at the Danger Ginger content. I do have a YouTube page here, which I'll be gearing up to start posting more stuff on as I get material together. BJ here has his at BJ Drinks Beer 3070 adult beverage review channel. Hey, a thumbs up when there's a thumbs up.
Saying goodbye to Milky. Have a great week.
Yes, everybody. I guess it's time to enjoy some. The Eagles did win. congratulations to them for advancing to the next round of the playoffs. The bums.
Go
But
Birds.
at least Washington didn't win the division. Everybody, so I am the Danger Ginger.
I'm BJ.
Yep, everybody have a good week. See y'all next week right here for another episode of BJ and DG Talk Wrestling. Now hit that outro, pal.
Take us home, Primal Fear.
Yeah! It's your boy Gabriel Hodder, Matthew Oman. We are all fight, no fight, primal fear. And you're watching BJ and DG Talk Wrestling. Yeah!